Sit down. Everybody remain seated where you are.
Hey man, so you put me on?
Yeah.
Then why isn't alcohol made illegal? Flowers and grass, like juice freaks get, hangers and cirrhosis in the liver. Besides, grass doesn't have it for me like alcohol. Besides, that cigarette's much worse. Right, man. As much as you want.
Drive a party. There's nothing wrong with grass. Yeah. 1,000 times. You'll never go to harder drugs.
Don't take any films of me. You're not going to use them anyway.
Well, speak your mind then.
Okay, I will. No one has the right to tell me what I can do with my own body, what I can eat, drink, or smoke. This is a free country, and no one has the right to take away my constitutional rights.
It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. Steve likes the weed. Steve likes the weed. Tell you about DMT. The DMT. Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Hoosiers with the drink. Sophisticated blasphemy. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. So let's set our minds free for the singularity. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary, sentient, artificial intelligence, flora and fauna alike, to the Hoosier Sophisticate Show, broadcasting live from the Sweet Leaf Emporium Studios. It's the August 3rd, year of our Lord 2020 edition. Something's missing here. I'm missing my guy. I'm missing my guy here.
I know.
I'm not really sure what to do. I feel a little naked.
It feels weird sitting here.
It feels a little strange sitting here. We played around with a few things. Maybe we'll get cheers, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers to you.
Cheers to everybody out there.
Maybe we will potentially check in with wherever he's at with Steve-O. We're going to have some fun tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about, let's see, we had a little get-together at the Spanish Society this week. We asked some people on the page, what are some good topics? If somebody really gets one that we get down and dirty with, maybe we're going to give away a little piece of Hoosier merch. It looked like we had some pretty good suggestions. Does everything sound good out there? Does everybody hear me all right?
How do we sound? Is there an echo? No echo?
It's go.
Can you hear us?
I think we're a go. So, yeah, man. It's been a great week, Mikey.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for filling in.
Sure,
we were going to take the week off.
Yeah.
This is the first time in 3 years that we haven't, had Steve here and been able to have our little show as is. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to do all the stuff. We're going to talk about all the things that I want to talk about. I'm not going to talk about anything that Steve wants to talk about. This is great. Mike, you get some camera time. This is going to be great, buddy. You know what? I found out something pretty neat at the sounds great. Okay, sounds good.
Awesome.
There's been some big news. The Rock. If you smell what The Rock is buying, he just bought the XFL today.
What?
Yes, The Rock
Okay.
and a group of investors bought the XFL. So they haven't announced anything more, but I got to think that St. Louis is. I imagine maybe they'll keep the Battle Hawks in place. We were definitely the strongest market going. No fishing talk tonight. Actually, I can't promise that, Jennifer Barra. I can't promise there's not going to be any fishing talk. The guy's been rubbing his little beach trip in my face.
It's beautiful down there.
Caw, Joe Pollock. Caw, buddy.
Caw.
So we had a little get together. Miss and I, after we got married, after that awesome little wedding in the woods that all of the sophisticated Hoosiers made possible, we had the cotillion. And And then, you know, she and I were planning on going to New Orleans for our honeymoon. And then as soon as we got back from that, New Orleans was shutting everything down again due to COVID.
I heard.
We've got a little chat that we'll talk about on that. Somebody said, you know, that was one of the topics they brought up is the COVID talk. So we can touch on that a little bit. I do have some cannabis news in Steve's stead.
Yeah, I've got a fair amount to say about that COVID. Please continue,
Oh,
Craig.
good. We're gonna get into it. So, yeah, buddy, I'm a little lost here. It feels like, you know,
Very quiet.
feels strange. Everything's a
There's
little
something
quiet.
missing from
This
the home.
freaking
The kids, I mean, the cat, we had to put the cat away. The cat was all over us, moving the camera, chewing on the wires. Well, I stopped it. But sorry, Steve and Jenny, we had to put the cat in the room. We will make sure we let the cat out as soon as we leave.
Basically, what we're saying is get your cat under control. Okay. So, anyway, we were gonna go to New Orleans. That got shut down. It happens. No big deal. So we were like, okay, pivot. Let's go back to the woods with our friends. Well, then, as we're getting closer and closer, the forecast isn't looking so good. We're like, all right, we're going to make a game time decision a day before. They're calling for flash floods. I can deal with a little bit of rain. I really don't want to camp for 2 days in the rain. Like, even drizzle, like, you want to be able to get dry after a while. That can be kind of a harrowing experience out in the woods for a couple of days.
That's a downer.
So the flash flood warnings persisted, and so we decided, you know what? Another hot route. Let's get together at the Spanish Society. Whoever can make it, we're just going to go hang out there for the night, have a little slumber party. It was a great little intimate time. There wasn't a big crowd that came out, but the Spanish Society, there's enough space there that we can all safely socially distance. And so went out there and ended up having a wonderful time. We had 3 people came in from Springfield. We had people from all over come and just hang out for the night. Pulled an all-nighter, like a bunch of kids, and it was a blast. And actually, there was a moment where one of our longtime fans, hang on one second. Hang on one second. Hang on one second. I see he's calling me. He's doing all kinds of stuff.
Uh-oh. We got our main guy who's not here calling us to make sure we're fixing something. What's he correcting us on? All right, so here we go. Stay tuned. I'm going to be right here with you, so just hang tight, okay? There is no stay tuned, so I'm not cutting to break or anything. So, let's see what we got coming up. Oh.
Hang on.
Wait.
When he comes in.
Oh, no.
When he comes in.
What do we got here? I think we have a surprise, folks.
Admit all. Here we go. There we go.
Oh. Let's see if you can hear him. Hang on. I think he can hear me.
Ask him.
Hey, can you hear me, Steve? Yeah, he's giving me the thumbs up. We can't hear him at all. So, Steve, check. No, sorry. Does it that second mic? No.
Tell him to call the
Call.
rejoin. Tell him to end the
Rejoin and call. Rejoin. End call. Rejoin. End call. Rejoin. End call. Rejoin. End call. Rejoin. It worked. Oh. No. Nope. It's okay. We'll get it figured out. We always have, no matter what, with Steve in Florida, us in the studio, I mean, there's always something going. I mean, it wouldn't be the Hoosier Sophisticate show if nothing went wrong. This is the way it is. Okay, so, weather. On to weather. It's going to be a nice week, like I said earlier. So,
that mic in your face, bud.
oh, here we go. So, weather for the week. It's going to be very nice. And, yeah, like I said, get out there and help somebody. Go do some good. If you're feeling a little down, just do some good.
How many people is he calling? How many screens is he going to call in?
Oh, no. We've got 3 Steve Elgins trying to come in right now.
All right.
Okay, there's one. Nope, not yet. Oh, there's 2.
Welcome.
Ask them.
It's okay.
Is your volume all the way up, bud?
Okay. Well. Sorry,
Okay.
Steve-O.
Sorry, buddy. We need to. Now I understand why Steve gets so frustrated, and this is my first time in this seat. I can't imagine how you felt over the past few years doing this when things went wrong and maintained your composure.
It's hard.
Yes, it is. It's very frustrating. But it's okay. We'll always get it figured out. Somehow, some way or another.
Okay. Mike?
Yes, sir.
Talk a little bit about the actual weather. What's
Okay, so the weather, we've got overcast most of the week. They're calling for 20 to 30%. You know, I'm going to go with scattered showers. Okay, I'm going to go with 50% scattered showers all week. And then it's going to be under 83 all week. You know, it's going to be give or take 10, maybe 5. You know, I don't know. You know, at night it might get a little colder. Maybe. Sunday's going to be 94. That's all you get for Sunday. Okay. The next week, maybe we'll catch up. I don't know. I might take a 14-day hiatus when Steve comes back only because of this COVID thing. You know, it's really like, we did the 14-day thing after the wedding, you know, and I was like, okay, whatever. I know I'm fine. I mean, yeah, I did hug 65 people, but shit. Okay, babe, whatever you want. Happy wife, happy home. I love you, babe, if you're watching. You know, it's good stuff. All right.
Well, it'll either work or it won't work, guys. We apologize. We've only run through it 5 times before it started just to make sure we had all of our T's crossed and lowercase j's dotted. Naturally, when we go live, things get wonky. So maybe we'll figure it out. I don't know. We were going to try and catch a little bit of the Florida sunset with Steve, let him tell us a little bit about what's going on in Paradise. That's neither here nor there. I want to tell you a funny story, Mike.
Right.
I don't know about so funny, but we're sitting there at the Smash Society. The longtime fan, he says, "Hey man, you know, he's wearing." He said, he bought a hat from us, I think, at last year's Washer tournament."
Okay.
Guy named Ben. He's been a kind of part of the group for a long time, and ultimately, what's happened? Yeah, it is what it is. Is the sound still okay? Nah, we're not gonna Skype him, Grace. We got it all figured. I can't just do that on the fly, Grace. Who do you think I am? Anyway, so we're sitting there, and he's talking about what this group has meant to him, and you know what's kind of you know, some of the positive things that have happened. And he's like, "Man, I got this neighbor that has been driving me fucking nuts. Been blowing their leaves all over my lawn." Okay, he's like, he goes, and it pissed me off, man. He's like, I had words, I yelled at my neighbor. He goes, and the more and more I'm in this group, and I realize that there's a better way to kind of resolve conflicts and things like that. He's like, I had this awakening. I had to go next door to my neighbor's house, knock on the door, tell him I'm sorry. Like, I didn't handle myself right. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. Like, you're learning a little bit, you're growing a little bit. That's fun. He goes, I'm wearing my Hoosier Sophisticate hat. And they go, well, you're wearing a Hoosier Sophisticate hat. And he goes, yeah, man. He's like, I've been, a fan for a long time. And his neighbor goes, well, my brother is Mike Ote.
Get the fuck out of here. That is awesome.
And I was like, you know that Mike, like, he goes, dude, I had no idea. So apparently your sister is this guy's neighbor, and they made up, and he's like, you apologized to him. But it was all about kind of, how the group communicates and how we get through stuff ultimately prompted him to go home and to go next door and try and make it up. So I thought that was pretty cool, man.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool, and it's just another testament to the South Side is always kind of coming together, and the seemingly 1 degree of separation between everybody. So that was pretty cool. I thought that was kind of a neat story.
Yeah, you guys have created a nice little network of people that, I mean, we've all somehow spread some kind of love somewhere. Some thank you, some, oh, hey, by the way, you doing anything next week? I need a hand. And there's at least a handful of people ready to jump and help. And I love it. It's amazing. It feels great. And yeah, this journey that I'm on with you guys and spreading the knowledge of Hoosier Sophisticate and what they're about, it's gold. I mean, you can't even pay for that shit. I mean, you know, they're just drowning in the dough, if you know what I mean. Got Steve in Florida. Know what I'm saying? You get it. Look at him. Look at him.
He can hear you. Tell him we love him.
Hey, buddy, we love you. We miss you so much. It's been really weird not being able to talk to you because you're like on vacation and I don't want to bother you. But yeah, it's been really weird and it's too quiet. We can hear the cat upstairs scratching and clawing at the door. It's literally, the door is about to come off. So I might have to do some handyman work.
All right. Well, it is what it is. Let me see your microphone.
Sure. Here you go, bud. All right, bud.
Steve-O, I love you, bud. You just enjoy the week with your family. Catch another one of those bonnet head sharks. Give our fans a little peek into the, into the abyss. Oh, look at that sun going down. Beautiful.
Oh my, that is beautiful.
Everybody hopes that you're having fun.
Holy
Much love to the Elgins. I'm sorry this didn't work.
Look at that.
I'm
The
sorry.
tip. The tip is going in.
Ooh,
The tip.
just the tip.
The tip.
Just the tip. All right. Well, guys, Steve-O, sorry, bud. I'm going to get... Oh, what's up, Ollie boy?
Hey,
I'm going to get this...
what's up?
What's happening, Ollie boy? He's holding the sun.
Oh, check that out. That's awesome. Tell him to... Never mind.
Here.
Ooh, he's got the 2-rod thing going. Hey, bud.
Later, babe. We love you. We'll see you. All right. That's that. Sorry, guys. Hopefully that just killed the... There you go.
Oh, ready. Here we go. And we're back.
Probably should have got rid of the...
Miss you, buddy. Love you.
Got rid of the echo
We'll have
there.
to work on that, you know,
So-
because we can really do some cool things.
I actually don't know what more we could do.
No, honestly, we just totally
I've been
got
setting
shafted
this
without
up,
the
as you can
Vaseline.
see, my hair.
I know. It's
As you can
I
see,
mean, look at it. It's like
you
an
can
M80
tell,
went
you
off,
can tell by
up there,
how
like,
much something has frustrated me based on what my hair's doing later. So it's just kind of a...
Luckily, I was able to break away tonight and, you know, come and help him because I knew he couldn't do it by himself because I had to support him. You know, you got to support your fellow. See, it goes right back. Got to support each other. You know, I knew he couldn't be alone.
All right,
Here we go. Oh,
Guys, you ready
here we
to start the
go.
show?
Here we go. You ready?
All right, guys, I really do apologize for the technical difficulties. It's kind of whatever. It just happens quite a bit. Mikey, let's talk about one of the things that Steve always brings up when he's here. We're just oh Jesus.
It's okay.
Real quick, while we got you, this is a good way to
Oh,
start.
yeah.
Guys, we have a funly
Giving
going
away
on.
this.
We have a funly going on. Can you
away
see that
this.
little cool little cannabis pipe by Brian Clark?
Yeah.
This custom-made piece right here. For every $5 you donate to Funly, we're going to give this away. This is the last week to get in on that action. We're going to give away a sweet little pipe by Brian Clark. 100% of the proceeds are going to Nolan's Tribe of Warriors for Cannabis.
Yep.
And that is made possible by our friends at Sweet Leaf. Sweet Leaf, big doings over there. Jason has been just an incredible partner to work with. They've got some CBD here.
Yeah. Good flower.
They've got they got a new store opening in
Oh,
Festus.
yes.
I'm
Festus.
so
Okay, good.
excited about this, dude. It's 12 minutes from my door. It's 12 minutes from my door. I do a lot of driving, Mikey.
Yeah.
I do a lot of driving. It's a lot. Although
Speaking
I
of,
got
how's that gas mileage?
the gas mileage is real nice, but although that car is probably going to end up being my wife's before long.
Okay.
One of the things is I bought a manual. I wanted to get a manual, something I could teach the kids how to drive a stick. You know, I feel like it's an essential life skill. And also give Miss a little crash course. It's been a while since she's had to drive a stick. So right now, I'm the only person that can drive the car in the house. So it's mine. I've always wanted a Mini Cooper with the John Cooper package. It's like 4-wheel drive and turbocharged and a little. Anyway, and at the very least, an S. This one isn't a Cooper S. So like this thing has no balls whatsoever. I mean, I love it. I love it because I've always loved Mini Coopers, and I got the Paceman, so it's like a little 2-door.
4 or 5 speed.
It's a 6-speed.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Between fifth and sixth gear, like
It's
you're
just-
screaming at 78 miles an hour. These fucking little limeys. All right, if you're British, I apologize, but these limeys. Sorry to Tiffany Jones's mom, and half of Tiffany Jones. These limeys put a damn. First off, they got like these new cars. They got so many damn bells and whistles, and if I put my phone in the passenger seat, the goddamn seatbelt alarm goes off. It's like that. You think it would be
because
like
of the weight.
Yeah, but you think it'd be like 40 pounds, maybe
You would
20,
think.
not
I
like
mean-
8 ounces. Like.
I know. Any sensitive pressure nowadays.
So I throw this on the seat. This stupid little thing dings at me the whole time. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. So that's one thing. Well, then like the day that I got it, we had to go down to Joplin. We got some rollerblades from our friend Michael.
Forker?
We got some rollerblades from our buddy. It was a nice little drive. I had just gotten my car, so and Miss and Trev drove down with me, and so they wanted to check out the new whip. So I was like, it's kind of cool. We'll drive an hour away. We'll drive an hour. Makes for a long night because we drove all the way back from Joplin to St. Louis.
Oh, dang.
But whatever. It's fine. So I got down to Springfield like 6. Had to run by my mom's house. From there, ended up going down to Joplin. We ended up not getting back on the road until almost 10:30, 11 o'clock from Joplin. So knew it was going to be a late night.
After you got in at 6.
Yeah, because in Springfield, had to go by my mom's house, had to do a couple
dang.
things, had to do all the paperwork for the car and all that. So by the time we got down there, had to get a little bite to eat, hadn't eaten anything. By the time we got down there, it was late, and then we wanted to visit for a little bit and check out his digs in Joplin, which he has the setup, dude. It is a sweet little setup that the full 4-horse have. Anyway, so go down there. So they had an opportunity to ride in the car, but I'm ripping down 44 West. I'm heading down to Joplin. And I'm like, all right, let's kind of try and open this thing up. I got this 6-speed, man. I'm ready to drive, dude. I'm ready to zip in and out of traffic in this little car that I can fit in my back pocket. Yeah. I get up to 78 miles an hour, bud, and it's got an alarm on it, just like a seatbelt alarm, that is a speed warning.
You're governing.
And they didn't shut me down. I could keep on going, but it just it was letting me know.
You've reached
you are over every speed limit in the continental U.S.,
like
except for in Montana. Like, they don't know if I live in Montana.
It's the model that you got.
I guess.
There's some models you can get that don't have that.
I promise you, if I had an S or a John Cooper Works Mini Cooper, there's no way that it would tell me at 78 miles an hour. I'm doing that in town in one of those bad boys. So anyway, I really do love the car.
Yeah.
I do.
Good.
It's fun. I haven't had like a newer car in a long time. The price was right on it. I drive like probably 120 to 150 miles a day. And so, it only makes sense to get out of the old Silver Bullet. And that thing has been a faithful servant to me. That silver Honda Odyssey I kept it because I can't replace the cargo pack.
Yeah.
I mean,
cargo
I can
itself.
fit stuff in there, but I've moved 3 houses in there.
Deep freezer, a lawnmower,
Dude, that
a riding lawnmower.
friggin' wardrobe, the armoire that I got from you.
Yep.
That thing fit in there, and that is the heaviest piece of furniture that's ever been made. Anyway, it's probably why my axle's all jacked up on the driver's. I got anyway. Okay. So I kept that car, and it has been nice, dude. I get 40 miles to the gallon. It cost me $17 to fill up my tank. I've only filled it up now 3 times since I've been back, but I've already almost got like 1,200 miles on that car.
Cow.
So anyway. It's awesome.
Wow.
It's been
Awesome.
great.
Well, good.
Yeah, it's great. So having a good time with that. Let's see. If it weren't for him, I may not have been able to stand up for much longer. Oh, I think that's Grace talking about our buddy Jason.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they don't know you're not in Montana. They don't know that.
I've heard Montana's really nice.
Oh, dude, big sky country.
Really?
I can't wait to go. Never been.
Never.
Never been. So we're going to talk about a few different things. I did put, like I said, I put a little flyer out to the page. What's something you want to talk about, guys? We're going to talk about all kinds of things. Me and Mike are just going to flat break it down tonight, okay? But I did want to talk about some cannabis news. Show's going to look a little different tonight because we went through a whole rigmarole to get that Zoom call figured out, and then it just didn't work. I got a feeling that Steve just wasn't joining with the audio. It's fine. It's probably on him. It's not on me. We did this a bunch of times.
I know we
Mike.
did, and we had it.
We had it
even
working a
recorded
bunch
it.
of times.
We
recorded it with you.
tried
We recorded it with
and
him.
we actually did one. 7 to 10 minutes.
I hate to
prior.
drag a guy that's not here to defend himself, but I just got I got a inkling of an idea that it's probably he just didn't have his audio set up.
think,
So.
yeah. Sometimes
Anywho, so we asked the page for some top topics to talk about. We're going to do that.
Okay.
But Steve, he does a little thing called Cannabis News.
Okay.
He kind of covers. He likes to talk about the cannabis around here.
Yeah.
It's how this whole thing started on the changing station. I know we recap this for the regulars all the time, but on the changing station, we started to have parents in that were treating their kids with cannabis. And it really it was popular. Like there were people that were interested in that. They weren't hearing it anywhere else on terrestrial radio. We found that we were moved by the stories and we were compelled to evangelize about this plant. We were already obviously fans of it and knew that it had some healing benefits, but we were still pretty ignorant to, FICO oils and really how it can be medicinally applied. Yeah. And so with that, Steve since started the Missouri Cannabis Podcast, and he's usually got a little something every week. And I saw with all of this, we just got a lot of bullshit going on in the world right now, man. And it's really hard to kind of keep our eyes on the prize and to move, the proverbial political football forward when it comes to cannabis. There's been like the MORE Act, which was like the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment Act, something like that, which was presented and ultimately shot down. Well, now the senator from Minnesota who took over when Al Franken resigned has introduced a bill that will completely deschedule cannabis. And what I like about this, there's things I like and there's things I don't like. So what I like about it is that it essentially it's just calling for an outright descheduling of cannabis. Okay. Now, what it does do that's a bit annoying just because of how inept the bureaucracy is it will have the Department of Transportation will decide what are the driving impaired standards. Okay. You'll have Customs that will decide a system for allowing cannabis imports into the country. Okay. And I'm going to have to think of what the third bureaucracy is that would be handling it. But what's nice about it is that it, from what I've seen so far, I haven't been able to dive too deep into it. Okay. One of the things I didn't necessarily like about the MORE Act is that it just it added a bunch more government spending to projects that weren't necessarily didn't have anything to do with anything. It just grew the size of government. This is kind of more of an idea like, hey, we already have this big-ass government that's got all of these different people working for it. Let's just start assigning some of these deals here. So I think I have it pulled up here. Hang on one second. And, okay. So a Democratic senator filed a new bill to federally legalize marijuana on Thursday, creating yet another potential avenue through which Congress could enact the policy change. The piece of legislation, sponsored by Senator Tina Smith of Minnesota, would remove cannabis from the Controlled Substances Act and direct several federal agencies to develop regulations for the plant. Titled the Substance Regulation and Safety Act, the bill would deschedule cannabis, require the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to develop rules that treat marijuana the same as tobacco, create a national research institute to evaluate the risks and benefits of cannabis. That seems extraneous. Require the U.S. Department of Agriculture to impose quality control standards and mandate that the Department of Transportation study methods for detecting THC impaired driving. So there, I have a little bit of an issue with. Okay, there have actually been studies that show that THC is not necessarily the thing that is impairing your driving. There's this weird thing that they're trying to always treat cannabis like they treat alcohol.
Yes.
And you just can't do that. It's not the same animal.
It's two different properties.
And so, what do we got going on here? Did you see what Nancy Pelosi said? I did not. And Grace is fired up about Nancy Pelosi. So the descheduling provisions are retroactive and shall apply to any offense committed, case pending, or conviction entered. And in the case of a juvenile, any offense committed, case pending, or adjudication of juvenile delinquency entered before, on, or after the date of the enactment of this act. This is big. So there's good things about it. There's bad things about it. The good things about it is it looks like it's going to essentially release a bunch of prisoners and toss out a bunch of court dockets. So that's awesome. HHS would have to come up with a national strategy to prevent youth use and abuse of cannabis, with specific attention to youth vaping of cannabis products. It's just all like, to me, like it's all like buzzwords, right? Like we had a big vaping crisis last year where they were using the vitamin E acetate. Well, none of that stuff is getting passed through, any kind of good cannabis state testing standards. I doubt it's charged. Oh, I was wrong. Let's see here. To the same extent as it does with tobacco, that includes applying all labeling and advertising requirements that apply to tobacco products under such act to cannabis products. I have this fucking problem where it's like, we got to treat cannabis like it's alcohol, and we got to treat tobacco or cannabis like it's tobacco. Like all of these substances that they've already gone above and beyond telling people what they can and can't use and raising the legal age. Like it is nobody to this day, I don't care what their intentions are, nobody can tell me that you're old enough to sign your life away and go fight a war that they decide is a war that you need to be fighting. You can put your life on the line, but you can't smoke a cigarette, and by God, you can't drink a beer, and now you can't use cannabis either. Oh, hey, you might be exposed to some of the scariest most harrowing, awful PTSD-driven acts of war, but God forbid that you use any of these other things that millions and millions of Americans use to cope with stress. So that's all kind of frustrating. So like I said before, Customs Border Protection be tasked with working with other agencies to develop policies allowing marijuana imports and exports, which could be pretty cool. There's not a ton of countries right now but I think there are a lot of countries, especially since the U.S. essentially is the UN. Like what we say goes. And so I think that there's a lot of us. I mean, when Nixon, when he started the war on drugs, basically everybody in the world was like, well, if they're doing it, we got to do it too. Like that was the deal. So I'm not exactly sure what import export would look like, but there are countries. See that? We'll get burning the COVID off, brother. The legislation further contains racial justice provisions. For example, HHS would have to consult with civil rights stakeholders to determine whether cannabis abuse prevention strategies and policies are likely to have racially disparate impacts within 100 days of the bill's enactment. And the Department of Transportation would have to determine the same thing, whether its impaired driving prevention policy is likely to contribute to racially disparate impacts in the enforcement of traffic safety laws. So it is in the back of their minds, that because if we're being honest, something we talk about all the time is like the war on drugs does disproportionately affect minority communities more than it does. I saw a meme, buddy. It was fucking great. It was so good. It was like, somebody's Twitter response or something, but it was like a Today Show, not article, but segment where they were talking about how a lot of moms are using cannabis to be better moms.
Really?
Oh,
that's
okay.
Good.
So that's great, right? And then this black gal says, it probably made a lot of black dads better dads too, but we wouldn't know because they got thrown in jail for the same amount.
You're right.
You're
right.
And that is something that we have to be cognizant of.
Yes.
I think that what's crazy is that there is kind of a sweeping move that could be done that would remove all of us out of danger from the law, and that is to just kind of outright deschedule it. It's like we want to deschedule it, but we're going to also come up with all of these other ways to create revenue off of it. Yeah. We're still going to be able to prove your impairment, even though those tests aren't the same thing. And by the way, would we have to wait? Like, do we have to, like, let's say this bill passes, okay? Are we going to have to wait until they come up with some science that they deem as, I mean, and how long is that go? It's like when we saw Sue Sisley talk at the conference, you know, she talked about the garbage, moldy freaking lawn clippings that is the federally approved cannabis that she has to use for her PTSD studies, and it has no trichomes left in it. It's got no medicine, no cannabis. I mean, it's just garbage, you know? And then when she finally gets the permission, they're like, yeah, okay, you can, as soon as as soon as you get the license or whatever, right? Well, then they just never give her the license. They're like, no, you've been approved.
That's bullshit.
But you never get the license. So it's just, it's frustrating. What I get the most frustrated about is that, you know, we get all of these. I don't know any. There are a handful of people, and I think that they are the minority now, who truly think that cannabis is a dangerous drug, as dangerous as, you know, the opiates that we're dealing with. Now,
it's bullshit.
I call myself radical, but I don't think that it's radical. It's like the new open reel that we have leading up to our deal, where the guy's like, you know, this is a free country, and you're telling me what I can drink, what I can smoke, what I can eat. Like, you're telling me what I can put in my body or what I can't put in my body. The bottom line is, call me a radical, but they have no business telling me what I put in my body ever, or what I'm in possession of, as long as I'm not putting anybody else in danger. And you already have laws on the books that punish people for driving under the influence. Okay, there are already rules. If I'm going 78 miles an hour, okay, you can give me a ticket for speeding, 8 over. Shouldn't be putting potentially endangering other people's lives. That's fine. But the act of possessing it, the act of growing a plant, the act of, I mean, I know I'm yelling at the choir here. I get it, but this is something that's like, okay, we're gonna make some movement on it. It's like Steve said, he's pissed off. He's like, well, if Joe Biden is elected, there's a good chance they're gonna legalize weed within the first. Save that fucking song and dance. You guys have. This is bigger than any president, right? I mean, President Obama was cannabis friendly, quote unquote, or so he seemed, but never took any kind of sweeping action. That's not the job of a president. All right, we have to. This is up to us. Compel Congress to make some moves, but just descheduling this shit. And it's like, I honestly feel like this is the problem
slow
with
steps.
Right. It's been very slow, and we're going backwards. As far as, I mean, right now, 50% of our federal prisoners are in there for drug-related offenses. 50%.
That's pretty.
And that's not like violent acts committed under drugs. That's not, that's the act of driving with it in your car, having it on your person. It's like the act of actually doing drugs isn't necessarily illegal. It's just possessing them. And doing something stupid on them. 50%, man. And that is a continuance of slavery. We talked to Jeff Mazansky several years ago when he was locked up for some draconian 3-strike rule. I think he had maybe an 8th in his pocket when he was arrested, but it was his 3rd strike, and he ended up getting a life sentence. What? Got a life sentence for it. And he had a very successful carpentry company before that, and now they got a skilled laborer in there. They got them building furniture that they're selling, that they're now selling on a different market, and they're paying him pennies on the dollar, for master craftsmanship, to me, that is, if people really knew, like, I think people have this idea, like the average person who's like, toes the firm line of the law, I feel like if they really knew what the prison system looked like, and what it did to just people, and what it's done to tear apart communities. You want to talk about low income communities and one of the biggest factors and one of the hardest things to talk about in that is the fact that the family dynamics in the poorest neighborhoods are shattered. They're splintered. You know, there aren't near as many families that, you know, and that's not to say that you can't, you know, I mean, 50% of the country is divorced, man. So like there are healthy ways to have patchwork families and things like that. Yeah. But one of the things that they talk about is, you know, kids growing up without their dads or their moms. You know, how many of them were thrown in cages for how many cops are just patrolling the streets looking for somebody that might have something on them, or someone that like this stop and frisk fucking Gestapo tactic of police departments all over. It's like that person's not doing anything. They're walking down the street, and I can walk at any time of the day, especially looking how I am. I can walk any time of the day in any neighborhood and not expect to be stopped. So, you know, some people hear these things. They hear the race conversation, and they only know how to hear it as if they're the bad guy in it. And that's not what's going on here. It's just people needing to be heard, screaming to be heard. And this guy got a little bit.
And they're not.
It ties into my Netflix pick a little bit. But this has been going on forever, dude. And we are making progress. We are. But there's still like awful shit happening. And we can't even all agree. Like there used to be this idea of like what it meant to be an American, right? And there's no right or wrong way to be an American, but there are central tenets that we could celebrate being an American and being a free person. You know, having this list of things that are guaranteed to us. They're not given to us by the government. Is simply there to make sure that those are always available to us, you know. And what's weird is in this you know, this duopoly that we have, this right versus left, red versus blue world that we live in. Both sides are happy to argue for taking away some of these rights if they don't fit their you know, their narrative, right? And then what they don't realize, it's kind of like this is the same thing that a lot of people right now that are you know, in the streets and protesting, and they're like, well, where are you? You know, where are all you people that said you were going to stand up against a tyrannical government? And to a degree, you know, they're right, but also the people that they've been arguing against, who are the ones that said they were going to do it, they've been vilified by them for the last 4 years, 3 years, you know, or more, because they didn't agree. And they're like, oh, you want me to come help now? You want me to join your cause now? And for me, I'm like, yeah, at some point we gotta look at each other, and we gotta say, hey man, the past is the past. What happened yesterday is what happened yesterday. Let's search for consistency in our belief structure and what it means to be neighbors, to be Americans, and you know, neighbors to one another, people that are actually trying to move the ball forward. And even now, when there's crazy shit happening every day, whether it's, you know, cities being taken over by groups, which is fucking crazy. It's kind of interesting. I'm certainly watching it like, okay, well, this is not how I expected it all to go down, but I'm appreciative of it. Even with all of these things going on, we're still finding ways to fucking argue over shit that is not what is right in front of us, right? Like we're so conditioned as you know, we're just so conditioned politically. And man, I haven't had a television, like, you know, a cable hookup or anything for going on, I want to say like 7 years now.
That's not bad.
It's been great. Yeah, and now the internet still keeps me informed. Yeah. But it's hard because you really have to do your due diligence. But I'll tell you what, TV wouldn't make it any easier. It would only make it harder. Like, there are people that are... Oh, yes. I mean, they are so dead set on what they see on whatever brand of news. Doesn't matter if it's Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, ABC. It doesn't matter. Like, everybody's got their deal. And they're all... When you see those... They're all different. AP videos where it's like...
Slightly.
They'll show like... Maybe 40 different newscasts, local newscasts, St. Louis, Atlanta, Boston, whatever, all over the country, and the news anchors, word verbatim, say the same thing. And it just came across the AP Newswire like that. That's what they're reporting on. Okay, well, this is what we've decided the narrative is today. I don't blame anybody for being a conspiracy theorist anymore. I don't blame anybody for being fucking fed up and just past it. Like, one thing COVID has done for me, which I was already kind of doing, but it's kind of been this celebration of when we were all forced to quarantine, to stay home with our families and everything. Like, we were all forced to sit with what actually matters. And it was, at the end of the day, it was you and your family versus this invisible killer, this invisible disease that's taking over the fucking world. Yeah. And of course, like, and then like the next circle out from that is like, okay, and then you're also going to make sure that your friends are okay, they're taken care of. And in limited, you're seeing each other in limited capacities, and as long as that circle's still staying small, you're kind of taking this on. But man, like, it really drove home something that I've been saying forever, which is I'm going to take care of me and mine. That's what I'm always going to do. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, I'm doing it from a place of love that is inspiring somewhat to other people. Yeah. And hopefully the company that I'm keeping, the friends that I keep, are living somewhat similarly by a similar group of core values. And that starts to kind of move outward. That's what so like, as poisonous as social media can be, and Twitter is a fucking cesspool. What we've created on Facebook is like this place where it's like, okay, there's a lot of bullshit going on, and we still drag our knees a little, skin our knees a little bit, but we're having open, honest conversations. And
it's a place you can take a break.
You can take a little bit of a break.
Take a break,
and I think like, that was really hard.
Escape.
I think that was really hard for people.
And I get it.
For a little while, like, to take a break from it, because it was something that they felt compelled and passionate about, and also to the inverse of that. Mm-hmm. And like, there used to be this rule, like, no talking dinner or no talking politics or religion at the dinner table or at Thanksgiving or whatever. And I'm not so sure that was ever a very good rule.
Good rule?
Yeah. I'm not so sure it was a very good rule.
I've been rethinking it a lot lately. I've always been the one, you come to my fucking house and we're drinking beer and eating food and doing whatever. We're not going to sit here and talk about religion or politics, because we're going to have a good time.
Sure.
And I've been in a lot of conversations where it has gone horribly wrong, to where it was like, holy shit, the party is ruined. And honestly, when we're at home, we actually just had a political conversation with a very close friend in the Hoosiers. I won't put him out there. He goes by Mr. D-Tank. Him and the wife got into a political conversation, and it was good. I sat back and I listened to it.
I would think that they have a lot of crossover.
I'm like, this is a very good, like, back and forth conversation.
Yeah.
And I was cool with it.
Yeah.
It was the first time, I was like, okay, I can do this. I can listen. Maybe I can learn. And I accepted it,
Sure.
So.
Well, I think that, okay, so that makes it easier, right?
Yes.
When you get together with family, there's always people who are like, oh, got to go to the in-laws for Thanksgiving.
Right.
Who knows what we're going to be talking about, or what you're
right.
going to, and I think you gave me a little piece of advice when I asked, what's a way to be a good husband? And I think your piece of advice was like, man, you got to pick your battles, like, ultimately, you stand firm on something that but I mean, at the end of the day, if it's something that's not really changing your immediate outcome,
yes,
don't pick that battle.
Nope.
Don't
do it.
And I also apply that to conversing with other. Dude, I went and picked up Missy and I went and bought this. We had a bed frame for this. We got a new mattress topper and everything, and so she got this bed frame off of Marketplace, and we go to Webster to go pick it up. And it's this really ornate, like, 4-post bed. Like, it's pretty cool. And this guy,
4-post bed.
Yeah, well, it's a utility and an accessory.
Mm-hmm.
So we pull into this guy's house, and this guy's like, reminded me a lot of, you seen American Beauty?
Yes.
Okay, the kid with the camera, like his dad, right?
Yeah,
it was like a hard ass
Marine guy
Marine.
who ended up being.
That's who this guy was. Okay, he comes out. And he seems, it's all kind of a pretty cordial greeting. It was like supposed to be pickup outside, whatever. Already paid him, no big deal. And he comes out, and I'm looking at this bed, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that'll fit in the van. We'll figure it out. But the box spring comes with it too. I'm like, I don't know about the box spring. I don't know if I can get a queen size box spring in there. Whatever, figure it out. We'll try. I ended up having to strap it to the top. I got on there. This old silver bullet never disappoints. So, this guy comes out, and he's like, he's talking to me, and he goes, I'll tell you what. This is out of the blue. I'm loading up because I'll tell you what. I'm tired of people apologizing for everything that we do around the world. I am tired of it, and I'm like, oh man, I get it. Yeah, okay, right on. Like, what the fuck? I'm not, like. Okay, yeah. Like there was a time when I was tired of it too, man. Like tired of being painted out as the bad guy. Whatever. He goes, and I'll tell you what else. He goes, I probably shouldn't even say this. My wife tells me that I probably shouldn't just talk about politics to any old person. He's like, he said I flew in Vietnam, and I'm like, that's thank you for your service, man. That's awesome. And he's like, and I'll tell you what else. I believe that life starts at conception. I'm like, we're going right into abortion, huh? Right out the gate.
Damn.
Right out. This dude gave me every firm talking point that he possibly could. He wasn't trying to have a fucking political conversation. He was just trying to spew like 8 different conservative talking points at me that were like, not even debatable ones. Like they were like just he was letting me know, hey, before you get this bed, this is who I am, Jack. All right. I don't think you should kill babies. I think we should blow up everybody in the world, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And I got to thinking, I'm like, whew, this guy's got to be a blast at parties. A total blast at parties. When you have that conversation, but you know what? Hey, I'm going to load this fucking bed up as quick as I can. I'm going to get out of here. I'm not going to fucking engage in civil discourse with this guy. He's not interested. So whatever. We end up, one of the things is I remember my mom's side of the family leans pretty far left. And my dad's side of the family is the exact opposite. Mom's side of the family, my grandfather was a union custodian. Worked in the public school system. Yeah. Dad's side of the family, my grandfather was a pretty successful businessman. Like, you certainly understand why they were all raised the way they were. They were very financially intelligent on my dad's side. Like, all of them were pretty savvy investors and things like that. And on the other side, like a lot of public school teachers, a lot of people that were provided for by a caring government and union system and everything like that. You can totally understand why people. And I remember, like, my dad was always on an island at my mom's side of the family, but my dad was a tremendous debater and was very compelling in the way he spoke. But I remember so many times just it becoming an absolute shitstorm, like when the family would get together and I would just be like, drinking it all in, like, oh my God, we were just throwing washers out there. What the fuck happened? What happened? But at the end of the day, we all love each other. Yeah, we're family. Sure. We all love each other, and like, you can even say, oh God, what a fucking knucklehead, what a dipshit for thinking that. But God, I love that dipshit, like it doesn't, I'll still fucking go to battle. I'll make sure that he and his family is provided for if shit really hits the fan, and that's something that I've always wanted the Sophisticated Hoosiers to be an extension of.
It is definitely that.
And I got a little bit of that at the Spanish Society when Ben said that. He's like, man, I knew that I was being an asshole. I was pissed about the leaves, but it's not the end of the world. I just, and he's like, and just being a part of this group compelled me to go over there. And then for her to say, who's Sophisticate? I'm one of you. Like, it was.
That's amazing.
That's the deal. And so that's why that's why we let conversations happen out there. I'm also a firm believer in not censoring any speech, and I know how hard that is for people. I know it's especially hard when people say ignorant, fucking bigoted things. Sometimes unknowingly, sometimes absolutely knowingly.
Yeah.
But I'm of the opinion, especially with this tool that we have of the internet, the way that you use it is you let that person, you put them out in the open.
Yeah.
And there's like another little meme going around, and something that even, my wife has said before, like somebody tells you like a racist joke in passing, just ask them to explain it. Just keep asking them to explain the joke. And they'll realize why it's funny.
Yeah.
And they'll realize how fucking dumb they sound, right? Same kind of thing happens is, when these ideas, or these, not even ideas, like when these slurs come out, or when someone says something insensitive, like there's a good chance that they don't know. Like this is just all they've known. This is how they've talked. These are phrases that have been used in passing. And you ever seen Clerks 2?
No.
Oh, there's a scene that's kind of relevant to that.
I did know there was a Clerks 2.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I don't know if it's as good as one. Clerks 3 is shooting right now, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
But there's a scene where Randall, who's like one of the biggest assholes in the history of cinema, is like talking about all of these. He's like using these slurs that he didn't know were slurs. Like he just, like, and the guy's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, you can't say that. You can't say that, man." Like, he's like, "What are you talking about? I can't say." He's like, "I'm taking the word back." He's like, "No, you can't." Yeah. And but that happens. Like, people grow up in these weird little bubbles that don't ever really, I think Twain said, like, the best way to defeat prejudice is to travel. You go and see how other people live in different places and immerse yourself in different cultures. Yes. And I always said, for me, it was sports, and it was, just like working in a kind of a factory setting. When you depend, or any kind of labor setting, when you depend on somebody else on your team to carry their weight and to do their job so that you can do your job, all of those fucking things go away. Like, at that point, you're a team. You're pulling in the same direction. Football for me was the big thing. But sports in general, like those are the guys you go to war for. And that was where when the MLB came out, which, boy howdy, did the MLB just fucking shit their pants on this whole thing. Yeah. Baseball season is going to be canceled within a week. Anywho, so when they first came out, and it was, the Cardinals decided they were going to wear black. That's okay. Decided they were going to wear Black Lives Matter shirts. It pissed off all these people, and Adam Wainwright came out, and he was the perfect person to do it, because Adam Wainwright is probably the favorite player of the Cardinal fans who would have some ignorant shit to say about this, And basically what he said was, he goes, it doesn't matter what my political leanings are or stances are. What matters is a couple of my teammates told me that they needed my help with something, that something was very real to them. It was hurting them. It was hurting the people that they love. And that's all I needed to hear. Yeah. That's all I needed to hear. And so that's where I feel like that's where minds and hearts are one, especially in the group. As we create more moments like Cotillion and like Hoosier Prom on August 29th. If you guys, I'm going to get a link for tickets up tomorrow. I'll have a link up there. Make sure you get your tickets for Hoosier Prom, Second Chance Prom. You're going to go out there and get you a little Goodwill get up. All right, we're going to have a nice little prom. It's going to be great. And anyway, the more and more we have events like that, the more and more we start to have real human connection. And the more and more we have these real human connections, the more and more our capacity for understanding grows. And the more and more our patience for helping people along who maybe have said some shit that is ignorant, and they just, it's ignorant at the very base of the word. They don't know any better. Now, willful ignorance is another story. And in 2020, we are reaching a point where, you are going to be reaching willful ignorance. at a point here as the information becomes more and more available to us.
You better know.
You better learn something. And in a world where, it used to be, how we settled shit was like, you say something that pisses me off, I might get you punched in the mouth. I still like that.
I know.
I still, but I also understand, we have better ways of compelling people. But also, I teach my kids, like, dude, my youngest, even my oldest boy, he went through a phase too, but it was like when they get pissed off, like they do this, like stick their chin out, like kind of check me. I'm like, I'm going to tell you something, Jack. All right. You do that. I'm going to let you get away with that. This is the last time you put your chin out there again. I'm going to put you on the mat, because that's a lesson you're going to need to learn, because I promise you, if someone fucking checked me like that, I'm tuning up the band. I'm tuning up the band on them. Put your fucking chin away. Anyway, so I don't even know what got us off on that.
Honestly,
a nice little tangent. Nice little tangent here.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what it is, though. It is 8 o'clock. We're already an hour
wow.
into this. I know. We probably spent about 15 minutes jacking
Holy
around with
cow.
Steve. So here's what we're going to do.
All right.
I'm going to run to a commercial real quick.
All right.
On the other side of the break, we'll talk about some psychedelics. And then I want to get into all of these different we'll have a little chat from all of the suggestions from the line, and we'll decide ultimately kind of what was our favorite one to riff on.
Okay.
We'll go for another hour or so, and we'll wrap this thing up. I'm fucking bummed that Zoom worked the way that it did, but that's, I can only do what I can do, Mikey.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I know.
Stay tuned. This here's City County Line. You want to go over there
I'm
and
gonna go get the
take care of
mics.
my mics for me? Guys, this is City County Line. We paid for the commercial, so you might as well check them out. Hey, I'm just kidding. Mike, give me City County Line.
All right, here we go. Where are we at? Oh, there it is.
Give me commercial break 1.
All right. So we will go. Okay, let's go to comment. Desktop audio 2.
James Carlton. Insurance. 314-961-4800. Handsome. Amazing. Astonishing. Astounding. Fabulous. Incredible. Fantastical. Phenomenal. Prodigious. Stupendous. Unbelievable. Wondrous. Divine. Fantastical. No, seriously, he's fantastical. You got a house. Go on and get it insured. You got a car. You gotta get it insured. You got a life. Go on and get it insured. CarltonInsurance.net. Fantastical. Stupendous. Fantastic.
Do you take our insurance, and are you cannabis friendly? And they all said no. And then at that last phone call, that 8th phone call, I was like, do you know anybody that is? I'm desperate. I've called 7 other people. You're my 8th phone call. At this point, I'm crying my eyes out. And this lady just felt bad for me and said, hold on, let me call you back in a few minutes. And they called me back, and they said that they would take him, but under a certain amount of conditions. And the main condition was that if they felt that cannabis was not working for him, then they would take him from us and put him in and Child Protective Services, and then they would take the other 2 kids too. Oh, because they were both underage.
Then
and we would be charged with child endangerment.
So they'd go to federal prison.
Yeah, we would go to federal prison. So we said, bring it on.
Come to Privilege, I got good fries.
8 inches and 2 hours for game time.
Raisins. No, this is one of the best Cubans. I try a Cuban everywhere I go, and this is one of the best damn Cubans I've ever had. And we've got a little white cheddar mac here with a little cracker mac. Life changing, incendiary.
Everywhere I go, I try the Cuban. This time I didn't. I got the real cheese bacon burger.
Look at that thing.
With put some pepper jack on, some jalapeno. We got some crinkle fries, and all I can say is, oh baby, grow baby.
As you can see, this was once a delicious plate of coconut scrimps, and I devoured it. And if I had to say, if I had to give a review real quick, I'd say it's an orgasmic feast of the senses.
And I love meat.
See ya at Truman's, guys.
Come to Prom.
Hey, Hoosiers. Craig will be back in just a second. And about take out the lights and everything with it. But here he is.
Oh, there he is. Hey, guys.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
It was dangerous, is what it is.
It was
Jesus
dangerous.
Christ.
That was
what was
kinda
that?
scary. I
I
was
hope
like,
that
what's
didn't
about to
fucking
happen?
ruin. Did I just unplug that?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Oh,
You
wait,
guys
you
hear
did
me all
unplug
right?
something.
Hang on.
Okay, hang tight. If you can't hear me, 1 second. So you got that little guy right behind your left foot. I don't know what that little guy? Yeah.
Oh, we're good.
Okay, cool.
We're good.
Sweet. Swipples. You gotta start saying swipples from now. No,
Sweet
maybe not.
nipples.
Yep, sweet nipples.
Swipples. Mikey, so we talked about the rock, and I've been
That's awesome. I'm pretty excited.
my DMs have been blowing up today, bud. They want to know what my friend Bobby Battlehawk's up to.
I heard.
And I got to be honest with you, I'm pretty juiced about it. I came down here. I'm like, it'd be kind of neat to just see what we got going on there. I started flipping through some B-roll footage we got of Bobby Battlehawk, and I think maybe we'll make a little a little treat for our patrons on Patreon.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Because, buddy, I was flipping through those.
They were good.
And I was getting a hearty chuckle. I mean, what people don't realize is like some of the hardest times I've ever laughed are from Steve and I. You want to go through that? That's all right. Some of the hardest times that I've laughed are when Steve and I are putting together these videos. And then, of course, we mash them all down. But really what it is, it's like, you remember in like Anchorman, all of that Ron Burgundy, like, sign-offs and things like that. That was just all Will Smith off the cuff. Will Ferrell off the cuff, not Will Smith.
Yeah, I was like, wait.
Not Will Smith. That'd be kind of weird.
That's weird.
Will Smith as Anchorman, that could actually be pretty good. But anyway.
I totally was like, yeah.
Yeah, sure, Will Smith. Anyway, so then we kind of chop it all up and we put it all together. But some of the ridiculous shit that comes out of our mouth. Anyway, so I was going through it. I thought maybe as just a little bit of a throwback, we could give them a little taste of Bobby Battlehawk. This was week 2. I probably should have done 3. That was the one where it was out there how Bobby Battlehawk was just murking kids, just laying them out. That one was a hilarious, fun little video we shot with him. But in the meantime, before we go into that, well, you know what? We'll do that right afterwards.
Okay.
Let's.
Sounds good.
This is a little taste, about 6 minutes. Bobby Battlehawk, week 2. This is what you got to look forward to, and you can thank Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for saving our beloved XFL St. Louis Battlehawks.
Thank you, Rock.
Check it out, guys. Man, there ain't nothing like that gal getting that first sniff of that Jacquard Noir and hearing you go, caw, caw, right at climax.
It's the Bobby Battlehawk Show. Dude, man.
We got a blue-black bird. Blue-black bird. Say it. Huh, huh.
That's the Bobby to Bobby Express. Tamu! Jordan! Damn, man, hit me in the basket, dude! Come on, man, you gotta put it in there, dude! Damn! Come in first down! Oh, hell, dude! You gonna get me killed across the middle like that. Ladies, Gorilla Glue sponsors this ad. Kid's got chopped up horse feet on his hands. Call it the law. What's up, everybody? It's Bob Battlehawk, man. You know, you guys know me. I'm just the lean, mean, lady-pleasing machine. You know what I mean? I'm worn down a little bit, man, after XFL Sundays, dude. You know, I go out there, you know, watching the game down at Truman's and Soulard. What a snooch party it is down there, dude. I ended up hooking up with a couple of Nubian princesses with that sea-salted chocolate caramel skin, boy. Whew! I took old daddy for a ride, if you know what I mean. Tell you what I like, man. I like a little Hawaiian gal, man. Skin just smelling like coconuts, man. She just wants to lay you the second you walk in the door, if you know what I mean. You know, I like them Swedish gals. They don't even know nothing about football, but, man, they know how to give you a massage. I'll tell you that. You know what I mean, buddy? I'm just Bobby Battlehawk, dude. I'm just a dude. I like them little Thai gals, man. Only want to do it in the dark, if you know what I mean. You know, they're always good times. Something, man, it's just a little bit tighter, a little bit naughtier with them. You know, man, I'll tell you what, I like them little Irish gals, man. See-through skin, red head like the flames of hell. I like them little Canuck gals, man. You know, one thing, they appreciate a good American sports car, you know, like my Roadrunner. The other thing is they're just so damn polite. Tell you what else I like, man. I like me a Navajo gal, little Apache woman, man. Help me live out my John Smith fantasies. More than anything, man, I just like me a tried and true South City little river rat. You know what I mean? A girl's down for a good time, throw back a couple natties with her daddy. If you know what I mean, that's the true icing on the cake for me. It's them little South City Hoosier broads. Man, they'll hop in the ride. They know to take their shoes off before they get in the old runner, if you know what I mean. That's the kind I like, man. All right, dude, let's kick to these week 2 highlights, XFL football, Battlehawks. All right, looks like, I don't know, Houston's got some kind of kicker up there. I think dude's name's Sergio. Of course, these Roughnecks are going to kick a fucking field goal. Splits the uprights. Do your little tango, Sergio. Good job, man. Welcome to America. All right, let me get to the Battlehawks highlights, please. Look at this. Threw that spiral tighter than the bull's ass in fly season, boy. Oh, man, shaking a tackle. A little grease. Look at that. Jones. Got me a Jonesin', baby. Jonesin' for a little bit more offense. All right, here we go. Here we got Houston's lined up here. Battlehawks in a little 4-4, 4-3 looks like. Maybe 4-4, 4-3 looks like. 4-3. Laying the lumber out there, boy. Whoo! He hit that boy so hard that boy's grandma got shit in her pants. Hey, you tip your cap every now and then. Look at that. God damn. Look, Battlehawks had some pressure on here. You're going to see here, they're going to slow it down slow motion. Look at this. Our D lineman, look at this. He's going to get a hand up. This little Walker, he's a player. Look at that sidearm underneath his arm. He just thread that thing. Look like Huck Finn and a sewing needle. Look at that. Give the boy his props. Touchdown Roughnecks. Oilers? Roughnecks? What the hell with this logo? There's got to be some kind of copyright infringement or something. Here we go. Throwing Samoan. Jordan Tamu. Oh, look at this. Just throws oh, Jordan. Come on, baby. Man, he rushed that one. That's all right. But you cannot let this cat just walk all the way back down the damn field. Come on, put a body on him. Hell, man. That could be the game right there, boys. Where's the tackling? I'd like to see a replay on that. Because I'm telling you right now, as sure as I got 2 eyes in my head, this sumbitch did not break the plane. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, man, how much damn time you going to give a kid? Did you give him 4 chances? No shit, they're going to march down the field. Come on, boys. Come on, cacao. Get up. Look at him. Throwing Samoan. Touchdown. Touchdown. Don't give him that out route, boy. Don't give him them 2-yard out routes because he'll take it. He'll take what you give him, and he'll make you hate it. Look at that. Touchdown, Battlehawk. Cacao, boy. Cacao. That boy's long. He started laying out the damn near 4-yard line for that. Man, I got me a man crush on Jordan Tamu. Tamu? All right, here we go. I know I'm sitting in the way. Figure it out. What, you can't use context clues? Touchdown Roughnecks. Fuck, you want to celebrate? Shit. Come on, man.
Jordan out of the gun. Here it goes. He's going to give him a look. Whoo-wee! Laser show. Boy, just throwing laser beams all over the goddamn laser field. Thing's a howitzer, boy. Oh, look at this. M-I-Z-Z-O-U. You heard me? You heard me, LaDamian Washington? That's pride of Missouri right there, kid. Missouri Tigers. Look at them greasy, slick wheels, boy. Might as well be a fucking road runner running down the sidelines. Damn. Hey, man, here's the deal, man. You can't win them all. You sure want to try. Like I said in that video there, this very well could be a preview of the XFL championship. We saw a lot of skill out there. We saw a lot of scoring out there. Battlehawks dug themselves a little bit of a hole, but they had fight in them the whole way. And I'll tell you what, you look at the stats, boy, I'll tell you, them stats, we dominated that game. A couple calls didn't go the way. I'll tell you what, I should have got a steal because them referees had me madder than a wet hen. I mean, hotter than a fucking hornet, all right? There was a neutral zone infraction, okay? Could have damn near gave us the game, all right? And you got sky officials, you got girls running all over the field in the zebra stripes, and not anybody can see that this dude is lined up in the neutral zone? Come on, dude. Man, this is XFL football. I thought we were professionals. Should be the best of the best out there calling this game. Man, there ain't nothing like that gal getting that first sniff of that Jacquard Noir and hearing you go, caw, caw, right at climax. Man, it'll get you there every time. This is Bobby Battlehawk. This week, I'm signing off. We're coming for you next week, New York Fartians.
It's the Bobby Battlehawk Show. Dude, man.
Oh, I can't wait to get Bobby back in studio, Mikey.
I know. I'm excited.
It's going to be great.
I'm excited. Last time I saw him was, what was that? The Aubrey roller ride down from Spanish Society
He
to
made a little
Soldiers
appearance.
Memorial and back. Yeah.
He made a little appearance.
That was pretty nice.
He brought some socks for Steve and
hooked him up.
Pulled up in his rental.
Yeah.
Had some Skinnerd running. There was, as I was going through, do you mind doing one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
Do you mind just kicking that volume down on that speaker a little bit? So
Yeah,
we don't have to hear that anymore. We're not talking to Steve anymore. So we're just going to do that. Although when I was going through the all the little Bobby Battlehawk footage, I found a little gem in here I wanted to share with everybody.
Okay.
You guys, this is just a couple of seconds here. You guys will enjoy this. Check it out.
That's the show topics.
Well, just kidding.
All right. Well, maybe next time. It happens.
Just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding with you. All right. So I did have a little bit of a treat there, but whatever, guys. It's just not working. Here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go to this post that I made today. Just wanted to see what everybody was talking about, and I'm going to find it here. Hang on one second. Let's see. Okay, so I said, what do you guys want to talk about tonight? Give me a couple topics. Ross, of course, says religion and politics if we could.
Okay. I love it.
The first thing was, do you all make panties? Which I think was in regards to, I said we were going to give away possibly a piece of merch.
Oh, okay.
To the right one. Otherwise, we don't make them yet. We have the ability to make some panties.
We might be. I heard somebody mention earlier in the week something about selling some used panties. I don't know. There might be a market for it.
We've been asked to make some face masks, so we might do that, and then it can double. I think if we just do them on like a G-string, you can just wear the underwear on your face.
That's a great idea.
And then we would be good to go there. So I just lost the damn thing again. There we go. All right. So the all-knowing that we are born with, can we tap into it at any given time and then forget how to tap in as we get older? How can we learn to tap back into it?
Tap into...
I guess the all-knowing. So the way that I understand that, and I never try to put my subjective experience on, to impress that on anybody else's experience. Mm-hmm. Personally, for me, the thing that helped me realize that, we're all one. This is all one thing. Has been psychedelics. So we can kind of, we'll start with this topic. It'll be our psych scrapbook for the week. For me, I do feel like as kids, we have this idea that everything is possible. Make believe is in our minds, you know, it's this very real thing, man. I'll tell you, my youngest, you know, Trev, he's got like the greatest. There's times where he's walking around the house, he's carrying a whole dialogue, he's got fight sequences, he's fighting the air, and he's in it, man. Like it might as well be happening.
Yeah.
And I think that as a kid, we haven't had all of these filters that the world puts on our reality,
Yeah.
right?
It's like some blockers.
Yeah,
blue blockers.
for sure. Absolutely. And so do I think that as we get older, it's easier to get out of touch with it? I do. And I also think that, you know, the times they are changing. And in 2020, people teaching, I mean, it's still very certainly prevalent. But like I grew up, we all grew up in South City, like in parishes where we had our religious beliefs definitely ingrained into us, indoctrinated, if you will. And I think that I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for my Catholic upbringing, my Catholic education. But at the same time, there were a lot of things I had to unlearn about spirituality.
Yes.
And I think that at the end of the day, my teachers in school and everything, I do feel like they were all teaching from a place, from their heart, like, and they were teaching something that they actually believed,
yes,
right?
I agree with that.
And also they believed it because
Except
it
for
was
the ones that hit you in the hand.
Except, we had
a couple of those.
Sister Mary had a paddle, man. She had a paddle at school. Anyway, so there were things that I had a definite. I was like sure about what God was, about what it was to be a good Christian, what it was to be a believer. And my job and what they teach you is like, it's your job to even teach your friends that Jesus is the way. Yeah. Right. I remember that being my answer. I'm like, how are you going to be a good Catholic or something?
Spread the
I'm
word
going
of
to
the
spread
Lord.
the word. I'm going to evangelize. And I think that, so like what a lot of organized religion does is it gives you allegories and it gives you these stories in the Bible or in the, Bhagavad Gita or whatever the Quran, the Torah, whatever your, religious text was. It gives you these stories by which you learn lessons to apply to your everyday life. And these texts are very old, and at the time, I think a lot of it was very survival based, right? Like, the reason we were told to go forth and procreate, or even why it wasn't okay for a man to lay with another man, was probably originally rooted in the fact that we had to procreate and grow the human race and grow the believers and things like that. So you have these hard set ideas, and then for me, I'm not even sure. I was still feeling pretty good about my faith and what God was and everything well into my early 20s probably. Okay. And I was really uncomfortable, and I think it was from a place of fear, even questioning it. Even though as I got older in Catholic school, and I moved away from Catholic school when I was a freshman.
So fear in what you were taught?
Fear, fear of the alternative. If I did question these things, well, then there was a special place that was reserved for me that was eternal agony, and that's a really difficult thing to overcome. Yeah, I see it still to this day with people our age, with people older than us, with
Catholic guilt.
Our parents, with whomever. Like they've been living under a belief structure for so long that questioning it now doesn't make sense. As my dad lay dying, my dad was not the most devout Catholic. We went to church every Sunday. I think he did that. I think he would have anyway. But he, there were just certain things that he said to me throughout. Like I remember fasting during track season, during Lent. I had a meet the next day, and my dad's like, "Listen, I sent you to Catholic school for a good education,
on Friday.
but I didn't send you there. You know, it wasn't about virgin birth. You know, that's not the reason that I sent you there. It was so that you could get a quality education in the city and things. So he would say things like that. But as his time wound down, and I've told the story about, you know, the priest coming in to read my dad his last rites, you know, a couple of weeks before he died. And that was a fucking super heavy and super psychedelic moment for me. And I remember talking to my dad, like, is this something that you want to do? Like, are we doing this because, you know, mom wants you to do it or whatever? And my dad simply said, you know, like, I've been doing it this long. It seems silly to not do it at the end. And I was like, and I understood where he was coming from, you know, and I was there for it. Like, I'm not going to question what, I mean, if I learned anything through my dad's sickness, it was learning how to, I wish I would have caught on a little bit sooner, but learning how to let people die with dignity and grace, you know? Yeah. And, so with that being said, all of these, you know, I had a mushroom experience when I was a little bit younger that like started to get me questioning it. And then I had, you know, maybe another one, another mushroom experience down the road. And then I did ayahuasca. And then all of a sudden, like my capacity for what was, you know, DMT especially, it put me in a place that I could actually, the separation between me and God. And this is something that's taught in most of the main religions is God is everywhere. Mm-hmm. God is in you. You know, these are things that they do teach us, but then they also teach like this separation, right? Yes. And this idea that God is judging you or, you know, and so my idea of God changed. I was, you know, reading a lot of books and also going through that. And my idea changed from who is God to what is God. And a couple of books kind of changed my mind on that. There's actually a book called What is God? And there was another one that was written kind of as a fiction. It's actually called A Thought Experiment because it's not even really telling a fictional story. What it is the entire book is a conversation, and it's written by Scott Adams, who there's a lot of people who would maybe think negatively of him because recently he's kind of been coming out. I wouldn't even call him a conservative voice, but he's kind of played the contrarian role a lot with a lot of the narratives that are pushed out there. Okay. And he's the guy that wrote the Dilbert comic strip. And so it was kind of weird that this thought experiment came from this guy that writes these funny papers. And so this thought experiment was basically, it was a conversation with God or what it would be like. And it was him kind of trying to write from the perspective of a God character. And if God truly is omnipotent and if he truly is omnipresent, what would be the one thing that God didn't know? You know, like if God knows all, what would be the one thing that he couldn't possibly know? And ultimately what it got to was like, God wouldn't know what it was like to not exist. Like what would happen if God didn't exist? Huh. And so the idea was like, we are God's debris from it, I say him, whatever, from it, him, her, from it, essentially
entity
trying to answer that question for itself. God killing itself, blowing himself up, herself up, and creating and then it became not just like this God who was sitting over this eternal vacuum of space, but God then became this universal existence, right? Like that was what the Big Bang was. Okay. And whether or not that's what happened, I mean, who knows? But it did get my gears grinding quite a bit on what that could even possibly mean, you know? So I think that as adults, if we are willing to challenge ourselves on these beliefs and do so in a place, and it might strengthen your faith in whatever your religious leanings are. That's the idea of the Jesuits in the Catholic Church. The Jesuits' idea was like, you know, you question these things, and it's through that questioning that your faith will be strengthened. If you keep following these questions to the nth degree, then ultimately, like, bigger questions are going to be presented to you. And that's true. Like, one of the rules in our house for our kids is, like, if we tell them, if anybody tells you they know who and what God is, then run in the opposite direction as fast as you can. Yeah. Nobody gets to decide that for you. Yeah. So I think that's a great little topic. And I think it's a fun thought experiment. Do we have a chance to tap into it when we get older? I certainly think we can. I think psychedelics can help with that. I think also, and something I need to get better at, but I think meditating can get you there. You don't have to use a substance to get there. I believe holotropic breathing could get you there, but those substances might make it a little bit easier for you. What might take you 20 years, what might take a Buddhist monk 20 years of meditation to obtain may happen for you in an 8-minute DMT trip. Like, that's entirely possible. I don't like to say that's what's going to happen, but these are things that can happen. And also, just simply asking the question to yourself and then deciding the path with which you're going to move forward can ultimately bring you closer to that understanding. Yes. Getting out in nature and seeing the symbiosis in nature, the fungi feeding the plants and the plants feeding the fungi, and the animals feeding off of nature, and then, when they die, fertilizing nature. All of these things, as we start to pull our perspective back further and further and further, you see that everything is working in a spiral, and I think it's like Horton Hears a Who. I've always kind of entertained this idea from the time I was a little kid. Like, well, what if I just exist in some little other object's dream? What if all of this time, and dude, there's substances like salvia out there where you can actually become an inanimate chair for what feels like a fucking eternity, or live in a completely alternate timeline. Yeah. There are things out there that can kind of disassociate you from your body so much that you get to spectate. You get to be a spectator of whatever this is moving through this other reality. So I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I think it's fun, and I think that the more people ask themselves hard existential questions, the more and more they're led to those beliefs. And and you know what? It might drive you to a more atheistic viewpoint. Although I don't know a ton of people. I know a handful, but I don't know a ton of people that have had those just like absolutely shattering psychedelic experiences.
I've met two
that just are still fervently atheist.
That went from
you'll get
to the other way.
You'll get a lot of people who at least kind of concede that maybe now they're agnostic a little bit. Yeah. They're at least understanding
of something.
That something is bigger in all of this, and
that higher power,
whatever that looks like. And then I think that there is a next step to that. Like, you believe in that higher power, and then there's a next step which ties into the question, which is, holy shit, I am a fraction of this higher power. And if I exist in this hologram, so like a hologram works. If you took a hologram and you sliced it into 2 pieces, 10 pieces, 1 trillion pieces, each slice, each little
segment,
what are the
section?
What were the old project, like slideshow? Each slide, okay, each one of those would contain the exact amount of information to make a 3D. That's how it works, to make a 3D hologram. So if that's true, and if we do exist in like this holographic reality, and the holographic universe was also, it's one of my favorite books, probably the book that really challenged my belief structure.
Really?
Michael Talbot, it's unbelievable. I highly recommend that read. But when he explains how that works, and then he gives kind of some science to go along with these things that are really hard for science to quantify, things like psychics and remote viewers and things like that. They are all kind of made possible in this holographic reality. So if I am a fractionated piece of the whole, then I contain all of the information of the whole. It's just a matter of
obtaining it,
of releasing it, of tapping into it.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's there. It's there. You just got to find out how it goes. Yeah. And I like the idea of a multiversal reality where this universe that we exist in is just one little bubble in an infinite void of bubbles, and each one of those bubbles is its own universal reality. Maybe it looks like this. Maybe it has totally different rules structure. Where up is down and black is white. Like and also I think maybe Miss posted this, but a bunch of people joined in on this talk, but it was like, what's like a piece of crazy information, a crazy factoid that you like? And I think it was maybe Marty Radel said, like, if the multiverse really exists, then somewhere in that multiverse is a universe where none of this exists, where nothing exists. The multiverse doesn't exist. And then, now you're starting to do some gymnastics with it. But, unified consciousness is something that I think gives life and gives breath to just all kinds of different ideas where, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't think of the term. Anyway, somebody learned something on the other side of the globe. We have an experience where we get to tap into that person's knowledge. Once they learn it, we all learn it.
Yeah.
You guys know the term. It'll probably come up on the text line here before long. Have you ever seen the threads of connection?
No.
Okay, I had this crazy. Once again, I had this.
Where's this?
This is a new one. This is a new one. The thread. That's a question. Have you ever seen the threads of connection?
No.
So I had this really powerful psilocybin experience a couple years ago. Before New Year's, I decided I wanted to do New Year's differently. I didn't want to ring. It's been 3 years ago because we've had a Hoosier party the last couple. I didn't want to start the new year hungover, right? Yeah. So I was going to plan a medicine ceremony for myself on December 31st, and then on the 1st I scheduled a float for myself, and I went to get in the sensory depth tank and hang in there, and I took a very healthy amount of psilocybin. I really wanted to challenge myself in this journey, and I had this experience where I was kind of asking questions, where I was floating in this void. And I just asking questions about like a lot of the indigenous practices to ceremony, and like why is tobacco something that they use? What is the significance of it? And like as I was asking these questions, and I wasn't verbally asking them, I was just like, as I thought them, I was getting answers for them. And I was like, what is the significance of tobacco? And all of a sudden there was this plume of smoke that kind of appeared in front of me as I floated in this void. And the plume of smoke, like you've seen, like when somebody, like a diamond heist or a bank robbery movie where they blow the smoke so they can see the lasers, and it was similar to that. So like this plume of smoke goes out and it exposes this net, this infinite net all around me. And I knew just from it presenting itself to me that I could peek in between where this net crossed at all these different crosses, and I was going to be, and so I just was compelled to move towards it. And as I peered into it, the first place I go to was like, it was a fucking creepy place, dude. It was like, I go in there, I've told this story before, but there were like all of these little bugs, and they were all crawling on like this room with like just a giant feast-like table, and they're all crawling towards this. God, I hate saying this. It makes me sound like a madman, but like a reptilian of sorts, some kind of big lizard, right? Okay. And this lizard cannot get enough of these bugs in its mouth. It's just munching on the bugs, and I'm like, fuck, it's dark, and it's just a freaky thing, And it's like this mass consumption, and I'm feeling empathy for these bugs, and I'm kind of like weirded out by it. And then this bug turns to me, and it's like, don't worry about us, dude. As it eats us, we become it, and his thoughts become our thoughts. And I was like, okay, that's a little bit more relaxing, I guess, but that's still kind of creepy. I need to get the fuck out of here. But I like the idea of it. It's like, once again, it was this cycle, right? As we, our cells change out of our bodies constantly. We have skin cells. What we eat actually does become a part of us, you know? So like here it was working out in like this crazy cosmic fucking allegory that I'm paying attention to. And then I climb back out of this net, and then I peer into the next one, and I'm climbing up these levels, going through this net until I eventually get to this unbelievable place that I have seen artists since I've had it draw very similar places, like art that has come out after I've seen this. So it definitely did not imprint on my brain or on my trip. Like, these are things that came out after I had this experience where I'm like, holy fuck, I've been there. I've been to that place. There's some visionary artists out there that do that from time to time, and you're like, fuck, they brought it back. They brought it back. It's amazing. So I've told this story before. This is how I've seen the threads of consciousness. Is like, well, then as I'm telling my friend this story, and this now some time has passed and everything, he starts talking about how his friend has been pushing him towards the Vedic texts for a long time, and he's just never got around to it. And as he was explaining this, because he had a similar trip with this net.
Okay.
He was telling his friend, goes, "Oh, so you mean like Indra's net?" And he's like, "Wait, what?" And his friend opens up the Vedic text, and sure enough, there's Indra's net. And the idea is like at each one of these little crosses, it is infinitely across the universe. These are ideas that have been passed down for thousands of years.
Wow.
But to me, it was just a personal experience that I had. I had nothing. I never read the Vedic texts. I never, you know what I mean? I'm fucking.
You saw something before.
I'm
you
going
even knew
to
about
now. I'm going to now. It's the same idea as like when I had my ayahuasca journey the first time. Like, I had this freaking jaguar. And I was afraid that it was imprinting, because they talk about the hummingbird and the jaguar and the condor and the viper, the snake. They talk about the serpent and all of these four animals that are attached to these different cardinal directions. And they say, oh, if you're feeling nervous, that's just the hummingbird's energy moving through you. And sometimes you'll feel the serpent kind of crawling through your body, looking for a way to get out. And sometimes you'll feel the big flapping wings of the condor. But they didn't really say what you would feel with the jaguar, And so I'm like, I'm having this experience, and I'm like, I'm probably just making this whole thing up. And I had this friggin' jaguar that was just like, it was hurting me at first, like it moving in and out of me, like kind of in my brain and out. And like, once I kind of relaxed into it, then I had a buddy, and it like, this jungle cat is like sitting with me, laughing, giggling, the whole time. And it stuck with me so much, and it gave me like this unbelievable like sense of just like courage, and like everything was going to be okay. And that was it, and it made such an impression on me that it became my Instagram handle. And like, the jovial jaguar, that's my spirit animal. And like, because I didn't know, like, people are always talking about spirit animals. I'm like, I don't know, man. No animal's ever really presented itself to me. That's not really how I get down. Well, I'm like, I guess that's my spirit animal. Although it seems a little cliche that it's one of these four animals that they say might have a part of your trip. And then earlier this year, maybe it was late last year, no, it was earlier this year. It was like in February, on Aubrey Marcus's podcast. He starts talking about how he is starting, in his clothing line, he's starting just a separate line called the Laughing Jaguar line.
What?
And it fucks me. Dude, I almost had to pull my car over. I was driving down the highway, and I'm like, what the fuck? What? And, Aubrey is somebody that I listen to religiously.
Yeah.
And, I love his whole cast of guests on there usually. And he talks about plant medicine a lot. And he's had a ton of different plant medicine ceremonies. But he's never really talked too much about the jaguar. He's damn sure never talked about a laughing jaguar.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, holy shit. Like, and I'm telling Max Montrose this at the Cannabis conference, and he's like, you know what the cool thing about that is like, you guys didn't see like a laughing jaguar. You guys saw the laughing jaguar. You guys saw the same thing. And I'm like, my head just explodes, because that's how I felt when I heard it. Like, There's no mistaking it. I could have just seen a jungle cat, like, oh, that was pretty wild, you know, like. Yeah. But a fucking laughing jaguar, I've never heard of that before. Why in the hell would a jaguar be laughing anyway? You know, like I couldn't. Shit like that happens, and I'm like, man, we're a part of something bigger.
Yeah,
we're a part of something bigger.
Something.
If I talk too much about it, people are going to think I'm a madman. But we're a part of something bigger. Casey Weeblog says, how can we explain deja vu and how I have dreams that come true a few years later, even if just partially? I've had dreams so vivid that occurred later, but because of the dream, I was able to control the outcome into a more desirable outcome. You ever had anything like that?
Yeah, I've had something close to that over the past, I'd say, few months. I've had some kind of experience to where I've come out of a shell and some dark shit has lifted.
Okay.
Out of myself, and the happiness that has happened in our family has transcended down to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And it is something I'm still understanding.
Yeah.
It's I want to dive deeper into what I think my grandfather has been leading me up to, because before he died, I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm not getting into this. I don't want it in my life.
Okay.
He passed away, and things have been happening that he taught me as a very young kid. And I'm like, okay. So there's things that are happening now that he taught me real young that I'm seeing now that's helping me understand you were leading me up to something.
Right on.
And I wanted to ignore it.
Yeah, I think that's our natural inclination, right? Like we know. This is something I'm dealing with our kids now.
Yeah,
and we got a parenting question after this one. I have had similar situations where it's one thing to kind of have deja vu, like, I feel like I've been here before. I feel like I've experienced this before. But it is another thing when you have one of those that is like lasting, like where it's like like a minute or two where you're like, I know exactly what they're going to say.
Yeah.
And I have had like not so strong that it happens often, but I've had a situation where like even in like a disagreement with somebody,
and you knew
where
you were going to win or lose.
No, I knew that I was going to say fucking something stupid. You know, like I was going to say something inflammatory.
Okay.
And in that experience, you've been in an argument before, like, fuck, I wish I could take that one back.
Yep.
I wish I would. That wasn't a point that was worth driving home to lead to this outcome.
Yeah.
I've had that happen a couple of times where I'm like, if you say this, we're going to go the wrong direction. And so I either opted, it's happened a couple of times, I've either opted to just absorb what the other person was saying, or find a different way to package it, or you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know how to explain it. I listened to a Shane Moss podcast one time where they were talking about deja vu, and there are scientists who think they've kind of mapped it out a little bit where your short-term memory is, God damn, I'm going to fuck this up, but it's reacting, or it's firing. Your signals are crossed up with your long-term memory. So like as something is happening, you're also remembering it as a long-term memory. Oh. And so they kind of tried to explain it that way.
That's what they think deja vu is?
So that's what like these lab scientists, these brain scientists think that it is. It's like it's this mixed signal between what you're perceiving and then also it's like when we have two mics fucking set on and the echoes going on, you know, like, and then right behind it, your long-term memory is like, yeah, we've already done this, you know?
Yeah.
So there, there's maybe something to that, but then also, there's more like metaphysical understandings, which is like if you're experiencing deja vu, it means you're on the right path. You're moving towards something that you're supposed to be moving towards. Maybe you've dreamt it ahead of time, whatever. So I'd rather live in that. Like it's something
in
where
the deja vu?
Yeah, kind of. Well, just kind of going in the metaphysical, like kind of going into, this idea of all of this magic and spirituality and stuff. Like for me, I get to choose what existence I have, right? I get to choose how I move through this. And there's one way, which is like, I need hard evidence proved in a lab all the time. Well, I don't wear a fucking lab coat for a reason. Like, I'm not trying to record data. I'm not trying to crunch numbers all day. That to me seems like the most boring existence ever. Yeah. You know, not to say that it's not. It might be the greatest thing for someone else, but to me, it's just boring. Like, I have the ability to believe in magic. Magic's only going to work if I believe in magic. Yeah. So that's the you know, that's the path I choose. And I'm not so dug in on it that like I'm going to tell somebody who can't be swayed otherwise that they're wrong. Yeah. I'm just going to say, okay, well that's the path you're walking and this is the path I'm walking, and you can just chalk up all of this weird shit that's happening to it being a coincidence. That's also fine. Because I've also got a lot of skeptic in me too, and like sometimes I'll have to hear something 3, 4, 5 times before I start to come around on it. So,
I think I misunderstood that question just a little bit.
Maybe, but not really. I mean, let's see here. So we got Kevin said we're living in a simulation. Prove me wrong, Kevin. I would, but I'm not.
Like the Matrix?
Yeah.
Because Max had me on there, dude. I was like, Matrix.
I think that
when we go on journeys, where do you
I'm
think
big
we
into
go?
simulation theory. I like simulation theory. It seems a little fatalist, like a little defeatist. Like, okay, I'm just a part of this computer program. Okay,
no, I know,
but like,
it makes
Kevin,
your
I
wheels,
can't prove you wrong.
It makes your wheels.
There's
go.
absolutely nothing I can do to prove you wrong. And so it is definitely like it's in my rotation of what I believe, because I got room in my ethos for a little bit of everything. Let's see here. What else we got? Man, we got a long show going here. Kristen asks, hey, talking to your kids about marijuana. What to tell them? What do you tell them? When do you tell them? How do you tell them? You know?
Well, so I got caught in Colorado last year, maybe 2 years ago is when we went. And we went to the dispensary, got, what we wanted to get, came back, and I think we made it one day. And then I had some trash in my personal trash can in our bathroom, and he went in there and went into the trash can, came out, and goes, "Hey, Dad, what's marijuana? What's cannabis? What is this?"
Was it like a package?
Yeah, it was a chocolate package.
Okay.
It was, a wrapper, it was gone. And I said, okay, so let's sit down and have the talk. I use medical cannabis. I said, right now, I do not have a legal card to possess this or use this. I said, but this is what helps me get rid of my headaches. This is what helps my condition with what the doctors told me I have. And I showed him all the pills I was taking, and he said, because I always keep a picture, and I showed him, and he was like, well, why couldn't you just do this in the beginning if it's legal? I said, so medically it's legal, and it can help me. I said, so this is what I use it for. And from then on, he's done nothing but ask questions about everything and is interested. And he is accepting of it.
I applaud you for it. This is something that I think Miss and I have agreed on. We both had kids coming into our relationship, and of course, you develop different styles of parenting, and this was something that we fervently agreed on. And I think it's partially because of kind of how I grew up, kind of always wanting the truth, like more truth than what anybody would give me, and I think maybe that made me even, I don't know. It upset me a little bit that like, you don't think I can handle the fucking, like, I don't think I could handle telling me the truth. Like, what are you hiding from me? And then of course, like, no matter what the intention was behind that lie, whatever they were trying to save me from, it ultimately almost always turned into like this bigger thing that ultimately led into a trust issue. I knew, luckily our kids were pretty young as I started to go on this journey, with Steve. And I knew that I already believed that, cannabis is a medicine, that all cannabis use is medicinal to some degree, not to say that it can't be abused. But I already had these kind of strong libertarian ideals about how the war on drugs should be removed completely after seeing kind of how it works in countries that don't punish these things. And so I knew that I wanted to tell my kids the truth. And I almost feel like because of that, because that was what we, because we put the truth first, it removed all of that taboo. I was the kind of kid, Mike, that like, I'm going to go find out for myself. If you tell me something is bad or wrong, and you don't tell me why, or what you're telling me why, like, doesn't really check out,
you're going to do it.
Then I'm going to do it. Yeah. And the worst thing in the world you can do is tell your kids that, like, this thing is the worst, it's just the worst, it's going to be bad. And then they go and do it, and then they end up having a really positive experience, an otherwise safe experience. And now you've been lied to, and not only have you been lied to, like, you now have little reason to trust what they're saying about things that could potentially hurt you.
Yes.
You know, the truth sets us free, man. And I've taken this approach. We speak very open and honestly about cannabis in our house. We have to. This is what I do for a living. You know, like I evangelize about cannabis. Like just like we thought that was what it was to be a good Christian. You know, was to go out and spread the word.
Yeah.
And turn non-believers into believers. It is my, when I had my very powerful plant medicine experiences, and psychedelics certainly pushed me more so even than cannabis to do it. I've always been like, cannabis was so good to me for so long, for such a good part of my life that like, I was just like, yeah, you guys got it way wrong on pot. And what's crazy is like, even a lot of the older people, as I got older, they're like, yeah, we know it's not a big deal, you know, but I was like, yeah, well, now apply that logic to like everything else that you've been lied to about, because psychedelics are many psychedelics are physically safer than cannabis, even cannabis, which is crazy. Like, which doesn't have, I mean, you have to eat 1,500 pounds of cannabis in order for it to kill you, but in one sitting. That's like eating three of those desks. I couldn't eat 3 of those desks. That desk ain't 500 pounds. That's like, whatever. That's like eating, 8 of those desks. Anyway, the point is that like once, like so I had an experience with pot. I was a positive experience. Well, then like I was still pretty good about like, I'm not trying anything else. If it doesn't grow if a caveman couldn't do it, I'm not gonna do it. That was kind of my deal. Okay. I don't want to mess with anything in a lab. And I think that that's a very safe way to play it. Yeah. Although nature has plenty of things that can kill you, by the way. People say, well, it's natural. Well, so is mercury. Don't eat mercury, Anyway, having these conversations with our kids, I swear it's almost made it uncool for them.
Yes.
Right?
I agree.
Like having this conversation with them, I don't think that my kids have this drive to go and find out what the hell. It's the idea of the apple in the Garden of Eden, right? Like
we've showed it to them. We've told
the
them
apple
that,
was knowledge, right? Yes. And so like when you are just willing to give them the knowledge, then they're not going to go and get bad knowledge from elsewhere.
Yes.
So I still think that no matter how pro-cannabis we are, I think that we need to be good parents and make sure that our kids are not using at a young age anything at a young age.
Oh, for sure.
But I feel like the first step to that is telling them what they can expect from it, and letting them know that as you're a fully developed adult, you can experience some of these things safely and come to an understanding. And once again, tying back into this, like the interconnectedness of all things, you can figure out how these different things plug into your physical and emotional and spiritual being, and they could very well help you realize that next thing. So for me, radical truth, man. I am all about radical truth. It's we apply the same thing to sex, when it comes to our kids. Like kids got questions about sex, we're going to have a safe conversation about sex. And the idea is that, you're not going to, don't not have it because of all of these scary things that they told us that were going to happen, which, by the way, there are very real consequences to you having sex young. This is something that I can tell my kids, sex is one of the most fun things that you can do as a human being. No question about it. However, it can also,
it's a big responsibility.
it can also alter your life's
whole
course,
entire life.
your life's course in a way that you cannot possibly be ready for. I had a child very young, well, pretty young. I wasn't a teenager, but I mean, I was, early 20s. And it definitely changed.
Yeah, you were definitely younger than me.
I was 21.
Wow.
And his mom was 19. So, but any which way, like, I don't regret it.
Yeah.
But I can have this conversation with my son. Like, look, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. But make no mistake, our life, or the life that I could potentially provide for you looks a lot different because of the, because of the moves I had to make at a young age. And also, I wasn't really ready. I mean, it's something that I don't feel good about. I don't know that anybody ever is. There's people that certainly
prep, but they're really
they prepare for it, they plan for it, but even until it finally happens, it's a total game changer. Being responsible for someone else's whole entire being is a heavy responsibility. And when you do that at a young age, you're probably not giving that kid the best opportunity that you can. You're going to do the best you can, hopefully. I don't know that I did in the beginning. I got a lot of help, and I got a great partner now that like inspires me to be a better dad every day. And being around good dads like you and Steve and like just this group, like being around good dads inspires me to be a better dad. But these are things that we can talk about, communicable diseases that happen, and also like, hey, it's okay for you to explore yourself sexually. You need time. You need time away. Like, masturbation is not the devil. Like, like I would much rather you be doing that than and also learning how to communicate as like I know how we grew up as boys, dude. Like,
you didn't talk much.
Well, dude, and well, not just that, but like just the way that we pursued women. Like we're learning now that so much of what we did was wrong. Very wrong. Straight up, it was wrong. And I've made peace with a lot of the asshole that I was when I was a kid, and I've even called old partners and old girlfriends and just said, look, I've grown, I've gotten better. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I ever put you through that, because for me, I wasn't even I couldn't even fathom what my actions could have done to you psychologically, because I was so self-centered and because I was so focused on this idea of I mean, it was very much a conquest thing where like all you're going to brag to your buddies about getting laid or whatever. So I feel like the best way to be a parent is to speak to your kids like they're humans. Yes. And kids are capable of so much more than adults are accustomed to giving them credit for.
You have to be receptive. If you're not, they will shut down and not open up.
So I'm going to get to maybe one or two more here. That was some parenting topics. XFL, we got into that. Let's see. Natural DMT found in the body. I'm going to give you just a real quick little breakdown on that. Natural DMT found in the body. DMT is found endogenously in the human body. Okay. When I went to when Steve and I went to the Psychedelic Symposium at the University of Michigan, I got to see these two researchers, these two PhD candidates that were studying DMT, endogenous DMT in the human body. And what was great is then even afterwards, going out to the bar, hanging out with Shane and all of these researchers, I got to sit across from this guy that had released this study, and it's going to be published, because we have long thought that DMT is produced in the pineal gland. Okay. And what happened is they were going to use that and then build a study around it. So what they ended up doing was they had these rats, and they would have one rat that had the pineal gland, and then they would have another rat that they removed the pineal gland from, or at least turned it off so that it wasn't producing. Okay. And when they would remove the pineal gland, they found that there was significantly more DMT produced in that rat than the one who had the pineal gland. So they couldn't ascertain where DMT was produced in the body, but what they could say was that the body did not depend on the pineal gland to make it. Yeah. Huh. So there's a little touch on that. Okay. Let's see. I'm not really in on that. How about how Apple discriminates against people with dick-sized fingers by making their iPhone keyboards too small? Fuck Apple, man. The pull-out method. I think there is a huge misconception. Oh, this is a good one. I think there's a huge misconception that guys all wipe their asses while sitting on the pot. I call shenanigans.
Smears?
First off, you better not be wiping your ass without a bidet cleaning
Come on,
that.
get the tushy.
Get the tushy, guys. All right? It is an unpaid sponsorship that's happening here. How do you wipe your ass, Jameson?
I dab it.
But sitting down?
Well, after I use the tushy.
But you're sitting down still, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy is claiming that like people are standing to wipe.
Why?
What are you doing?
Why?
What's the deal?
You got to dab first. It's going to run down your leg. It's going to don't do that.
Don't do that. Sit on the toilet. Keep it all contained in the
it's
pot.
It's a throne for a reason.
Yes. And then the moving of the goalpost seemingly every other day in regard to COVID. Okay, I don't want to talk about COVID.
I don't either. I did, but I don't. I'm done.
Guys, it is what it is. Like I don't know. The biggest thing that COVID's fucking with me on here.
Keep one of these in your fucking pocket if you go in the store. You just get done smoking, and you cough, and whatever. It's all
the biggest thing with COVID that's got me jacked up is I really don't know what to do with these kids, man, for school.
I know the virtual learning thing is coming down the pipe.
Now you got where are you? Are you
Lindbergh?
You're in Lindbergh schools. What is their plan?
Down the pipe. Well, as of right now, they do not have a public plan. But we have an inside, I'm definitely not naming names on this one. We have an insider who is a teacher at one of the Lindbergh schools, and she said that it's going to go virtual. So
yeah, so
everybody typically follows suit after Lindbergh or Afton. It's like right.
Afton has already decided they're going virtual for the first semester.
Okay.
I've talked to a few other teachers, I believe, like Clayton. They're going all virtual for the first semester. Hillsborough has done no such thing. I don't think Fox has either. I'm not sure if who all in Jeff County has. Here's what's going to happen, Mike. I don't know. Their plan right now is not a great one.
No.
It's like a half on, half off kind of thing.
It's bad.
I don't understand it. I don't understand what they're trying to do.
These kids are missing the social contact. I mean, as much as we all are, we're trying to get it in.
Totally.
But they need it more than us.
Well, even with that, like, what's going to happen for these people that are going to school and they're going to try and practice distancing and they got masks?
Oh, yeah, and they have to wear masks.
It might work a little bit from junior high up, maybe, but I just don't, dude. Kindergarten through third grade. Fourth grade,
it's going to be a nightmare.
These kids are going to be trading masks. They're going to be like.
I applaud you, teachers, for what you're going to have to do and endure.
We talked about homeschooling for the longest time.
Yeah. Yes.
And we still are teetering on it.
That's where we're kind of at.
I wouldn't mind like doing it in conjunction with virtual learning. Yeah. I just, our youngest is going into third grade. He's got so much energy. How you're going to sit him down in front of a screen
him for more than a half hour?
And
15
and
minutes.
He's several years older. I think about Steve and Jenny, man. They got Ivan going into kindergarten. You're going to tell me that a kindergartner is going to sit in front of a screen? No freaking way. However, what's going to happen if they go to school is they're going to end up they're going to go to school for 3 weeks and they're going to say, all right, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This kid tested positive for COVID. This teacher tested positive for
that's
COVID.
the biggest fear.
And if they don't have a virtual plan in place, oh man, they're going to be so far behind the fucking 8 ball. So that's where I'm at with COVID, man. Like, I think more and more people are going to show up with it. I think more and more people are getting tested. Mm-hmm. I think most of us are going to be asymptomatic. I don't expect a spike in deaths. It's something we can take it all seriously. That's fine. But we have been victim to just bad science and data from the very beginning. Yeah. We've been victim to it. Of course, this is all happening in an election year. And so you would be very hard pressed to convince me otherwise that, both parties have not politicized this thing as an us versus them a thing. And so, I'm ready for us to take action based on some good science, and we just don't have it right now. I mean, the data is just so fucking bad, and they've screwed the pooch.
Yeah,
man.
I'm down with
they've
good
really
science.
screwed the pooch, man.
I know.
So, all right, here's one more thing. let's because we got to pay the sponsors.
Yeah.
Let's go to a break. On the other side of the break, I know it's a long one, guys. On the other side of the break, we're going to do our streaming picks of the week. We'll wrap this thing up, and we'll get out of here. So why don't you, or you know what? I'll get it. Stay tuned, everybody. We're going to take a little commercial break.
Hey girl, where you wanna go?
I don't care, I just love you.
Are you hungry? Do you wanna get something to eat?
I don't care, I'm kinda hungry.
Well, what sounds good?
Anything sounds good, you pick.
How about some Mexican?
No, I had that for lunch yesterday.
How about we get some Italian food?
Ew.
Okay, now you're not saying anything and just giving me a
want
look.
Something delicious.
What does that even mean?
I want to sit outside.
Applebee's?
Applebee's
No,
is
Applebee's.
gross.
Applebee's
I'm not
is
eating
good.
Applebee's.
I don't know why you're always
Applebee's
hating on
fries are
Applebee's. Applebee's is
disgusting.
one of
They're
my favorite darn
gross.
places to go ever.
I'm not eating Applebee's.
I wanna go to
Truman's. Let's go to Truman's. Soulard, go to Truman's. I wanna go to Truman's. In Soulard, take me to Truman's. We agree on Truman's. I love Truman's. Soulard, I love Truman's. Soulard. Truman, 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 Truman.
Truman's in Soulard, a place we can all agree upon.
James Carlton. James Carlton. James Carlton. You gotta get your insurance. Gotta get that State Farm insurance.
You think you found the best insurance agent in the game? Well, I got news for you. I did, and it's James Carlton. State Farm. CarltonInsurance.net.
Hey everybody, I'm just making this post as a little public service announcement. I recently had a roof leak and I got online and called the #RoofBoys. They showed up and they didn't have a truck. They came out of the woods near my home, which was odd. When they showed up, I'm pretty sure they were children. The little one was aggressive. He was beating on my garage. He was shirtless and had a tattoo that said Bug Life. And the older one didn't have a ladder and said he would climb my roof by getting on the pillar, and he was slapping a spatula around, which I don't know what a spatula does for roofing. So if you want a reputable roofer, I recommend you go to Lifetime Roofing and Renovation, located in Webster Grove. They've been around since 2005, and they're grown men.
Hey guys, it's me, Kippy the Crazy Koala Bear, and I'm here to tell you about James Carlton Insurance.
Kids, quiet down.
It's the best.
Kids, quiet down. Listen.
Grown-ups need insurance, and Uncle James can help.
Right on.
Grown-ups need insurance. He's got the best reviews on Yelp. Grown-ups need insurance if they want to protect their house.
Yes, sir.
Grown-ups need insurance if they want to properly bury a spouse.
That's a bit morbid.
Grown-ups need insurance if they drive a truck.
Okay.
Grown-ups need insurance just so they don't get.
Whoa, Kippy, you can't.
Well, I was just
no,
gonna
you
say
cannot.
get in trouble.
Okay, well, it
You
sounded
don't
like you
wanna
were going
get
to
in trouble.
say something else. James Carlton, State Farm Insurance. You can find him online at carltoninsurance.net, or you can call him at 314-961-4800.
Hey boys and girls, I'm talking about native hemp extract. That CBD.
That CBD.
Inside of me.
Inside of me.
That CBD.
That CBD.
Sweet delicious CBD. That CBD.
That CBD.
Got the CBD native hemp. That CBD.
That CBD.
You can get it from me.
I can.
That CBD.
That CBD.
Inside of me.
Inside of me.
That CBD.
That CBD.
Inside of me.
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 No. Inside of me.
Inside of me. Inside of me. Native hemp extract. 1,800 milligrams of total cannabinoid goodness from Pike County, Illinois. Get yours at HoosierSophisticate.com. And we're back.
We're back.
Mikey, it's been
a
fun,
good
buddy.
night.
It's been a real good night. We usually wrap this thing up with our streaming picks of the week, but I want to take a chance. You know what? We'll do it after the streaming picks of the week.
Yeah.
Let's. I'm gonna do it a cappella here.
Okay.
It's the streaming picks of the week. It's the streaming picks of the week. It's the streaming picks of the week. We like the internet too. What are you watching this week, Mike?
So I finished up Down to Earth. I know your wife does not like Zac Efron, but I tell you what, it's a very emotional ending, and it really just it hit home for me because I've got family out there. I'm not going to ruin it for you.
Okay.
But it's good. Trust me.
Okay.
My pick of the week is The Last Narc. So it's kind of before the whole Narcos thing. I know that whole thing got blown up, and everybody's like, God, I'm so sick of Narcos. But it was very interesting to see the intricacies between the government, our government, Mexican government, the cartels, how El Chapo, before he got started, how he got started, and everything prior to that. There were a lot of lives ruined, a lot of secret little like CIA agencies, but in Mexico. And it was I think it's Amazon. You know, just Google it, just Last Narc. It's pretty good.
The Last Narc. Let's see what we got it on here. It is on Prime Video.
Yes.
Nice.
And it is good.
Okay.
It's really good.
I will check that out. That
Yeah.
sounds pretty awesome. I'm into that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating. That's something that when we talk about the war on drugs, like not just when we talk about the war on drugs, we don't even a lot of people who are pro prohibition.
Yeah.
They don't even realize how much our government plays into that. And somebody talked about how, we need to shut down Department of Homeland Security. They said, I feel like there's a whole young generation that doesn't even realize that is like within the last 20 years, right? Like that was right around the time 9/11 came out, is when this whole thing was developed. Like the world did exist before we had this other bureaucracy in charge of things. And I said, hey, let's take it a step further. Let's take all of these 3-letter agencies that are unchecked shadow government bureaucrats that we don't elect. Let's strip them of all of their power, because ultimately what happens is these different departments, they get budgets, and in order to justify their budgets, they keep spending more and more, and they have to create conflict. And it's something that we've been fed a line our entire life, that we're the good guys, and I believe that to be partially true, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's put the Facebook checker on that. Like, yes, we do a lot of good things all around the world.
Yes.
Places smashed by a hurricane, we have a nuclear sub that can power an island. We have it there, and I mean, there is benefits to being America and things that we do provide for the world. However, there are also these other agencies that they have to create conflict in order to militarize and in order to be needed, in order to be useful. And it's very frustrating when you see that. I mean, all of the unintended consequences of fighting these wars, and blowing up these small villages and areas, and then all of a sudden we are propping up different warlords, that ultimately become the El Chapos, and they start running cartels. We remove people from power. We topple governments, and then what happens? In that vacuum, a group like ISIS comes in, or a group like the Taliban comes in as we destabilize these regions, and it justifies our presence in these places. And so when we talk about the war on drugs, we're talking about what it looks like on a global scale. I mean, there has been, this isn't conspiratorial. We found out that the CIA absolutely dumped crack into neighborhoods in the late 80s, into low-income neighborhoods. These things don't just happen out of nowhere. But as they're introduced, there is a market that is made. Consumers make the market. And so on top of creating this class of drug lords and warlords and things like that, we also create a whole new class of consumer, and these addiction rates, they start to take over neighborhoods, and then now all of a sudden, because we're jailing people for possession and for things, and for trafficking, or for selling, or intent to distribute, or anything like that, now all of a sudden we're the free country. America, the free country, is the most incarcerated country in the world. We have more people in prison than any other country, which is fucking unbelievable to think about. So those things do really interest me, and I feel like the more and more Hollywood quality documentaries are made on these things, make it a little bit easier to consume.
Yes.
I think more and more people's eyes are open to kind of the fuckery that's been going on. That's something that the internet has done for us, and streaming has done for us. Before, a great deal of our information either came from reading books, or came from 5 different outlets that were reporting the news. Well, now we're finding out so many truths that were conveniently left out.
Yes.
So I will check that out. The Last Narc, is that what it's called? The Last Narc. Okay.
All right. What are you watching?
Buddy, I have been waiting for this day for almost a year now. Friday is when it came out. My son went out of town. This is a show that I fucking dig, man. The 2nd season of The Umbrella Academy came out on Netflix.
No way.
It did. Did you watch the first season?
Yes.
Oh, dude. Oh, dude. Oh, dude. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
It is so good, man. Like, I'm about, I think there's 10 episodes. I think I'm 5 in.
Okay.
And it picks up right where it left off. They got a nice little recap in the beginning.
Okay. Good.
And they're jumping through time, trying to save the world.
Oh, I'm into
and
it.
dude, fuck, man, it's so good, man. And it's just really well shot. It really is. Like, it's something that I'm always trying to get my oldest son to kind of dig on whatever. Some of my favorite memories with my dad were just watching different sci-fis and things like that. And with kids now, they have so many different avenues that they can consume content, YouTube and TikTok or whatever, like all of these different things that it's really hard to get them to get their attention for a while and find things that you can share together. And I'm always kind of just throwing whatever at the wall, hoping something will stick that, and this was one that, like, Landon's sending me texts like, Dad, Friday it's coming out. Like, we've had our eyes on it forever. Dude, it is shot so well. I am fucking loving it. And it's also, they're going back in time, so it ties into some historical places and events that happened, and them kind of trying to you know,
Cool.
keep crazy shit from happening. It's fucking awesome. The Umbrella Academy season 2,
Netflix.
Check it out, Netflix. It's so good. If you guys haven't watched it at all, just start season 1 tonight. It has a little bit of a lull in the middle of the season, but man,
It's good.
what a payoff
It's
at the
worth
end! And you are lucky that you didn't have, because it was a cliffhanger for all
Yes.
cliffhangers.
Oh, God.
Matter of fact, that was Land's biggest deal. He's like, I wish I didn't even watch the last episode. I'm pissed off. He's just mad. Like he's like,
Yeah, that
I
was
can't
one of
believe this
those.
is where they left us. So, that's been my pick for the week.
That'd
And
be a good
I got back from Spanish Society, and I want to thank everybody that came out. It was a real intimate time down at the Spanish Society. We were safely socially distanced. We had a really good time. We'll sleep over. I think at about 6:30 in the morning. It was like, all right, guys, it's time we go find our beds upstairs.
Sounds about right.
So we played Rana all night long. We sang songs. We had a blast. It was so much fun. So thank you to everybody that came out. I'll probably forget somebody, but Mike, Dave, Ben, Stephanie, Jenna, Scott, Carson, Lucky, Aunt Di, Gino, Janet, we had so many people come through and have a wonderful, wonderful time. I know I'm missing people. Matt Neal was there, and it was great, dude. It was great. My cousin Cass came by, and her buddy Matt came by. It was awesome. It was great. So it was an intimate time. We had the upstairs. They put glow sticks all out over the upstairs. All the lights were out. Dude, I had this moment. It was crazy. I went upstairs for a second because I hadn't seen it yet. I'd been downstairs kind of, behind the bartending bar. And I got away for a few minutes, and all the lights were off, and there's just glow sticks everywhere. And I'm lying there, and I think my brother was up there on the stage, and I had left my phone hooked up to the speaker upstairs, and I'd left with like Zeppelin on or something. And I came back up, and at this point they had all the lights and everything going. And I heard Pink Floyd on, and it was, Welcome to the Machine was on, and my brother and I laid there in this fucking just killer meditation on the stage, just like downloading Pink Floyd. It was awesome. Anyway, it was a really fun little moment. We had a good time. But I want to thank our sponsors, man. I want to thank our sponsors, Native Hemp Extract. Guys, this is honestly, there are so many CBD products out there. And this is 1,800 milligrams total cannabinoids. It's absolutely tremendous. Sweet Leaf is doing big things. About to open a second location. Jason is always giving us something to give away. That little piece from Brian Clark there, we are raffling off for Nolan's Tribe of Warriors for Cannabis. And so all you got to do is go to the Fundly page. For every $5 you donate, you get a chance at winning that. We're going to give that away this week, probably next week whenever Steve-O's back.
Next week.
We miss Steve-O. We hope the Elgins are having a blast. Thanks to James Carlton. James Carlton helped Steve out.
Yeah,
from,
man, just
from
by his words.
Down in
Just
Florida.
by his words.
Just helped him out. No big deal. Lifetime Roofing.
Roof.
Truman's and Soulard. I can't
Truman's.
wait till that joint
Can't wait
opens
till it
back up.
opens.
Hopefully, Bobby Battlehawk go down there just chasing
Yeah.
some trim, dude.
Maybe had a little private party.
Little private party down at Truman's. It's been a real fun ride. Guys, thanks for bearing with us. I promise you that we tested everything before we started, but sometimes that's just the way she blows,
It's the way the cookie
So
crumbles.
unfortunately, we didn't get Steve this week. He was definitely missed. But Mikey, you did a great job, buddy.
Oh, thanks, man.
We had fun. I had fun.
I did.
Everybody
it was
tuned
great.
in. We had fun little conversation. So guys, check out our sponsors. Make sure you're helping them out. They make this whole thing possible, man. And we're just Spanish Society Outreach. We talked about them a little bit. We got a washer tournament. Clear your schedule September 26th, and I mean clear it all day. For the people that are coming in from out of town, we're thinking about getting a VRBO or Airbnb right across the street. There's actually our friend Cindy Northcutt, whenever she was in town for the Cannabis conference, turned me on to this place. I
Didn't
hadn't
even
dude,
know.
I've
Had
gone to the
no
Spanish
idea.
Society 1,000 times. I had no idea the house across the street was so nice.
No idea.
So for the people that are coming in from out of town, we're thinking about getting this. And if you want to have a place where you can lay your head and have it sleeps several, we'll figure out what the rates are, and we'll get it booked ahead of time. And it'll be a nice little place for you to fall. You can come up on Friday night. That way you don't have to get there super early in the morning. You just wake up,
Boom.
walk out the
You're
door.
right there.
You're there. Bring your money. If you guys have anything that you might want to donate for a silent auction raffle, we have raffles and 50/50s going all day. Chuck-a-Luck's going on if you want to play washers. It's $80 a team for every 2-man team. It's $80 all in, it's good competition. It's a fun day. We usually get about 64 teams out there. $30 covers your food and drink all day long. And then, if you bring some cash, there's always, so like I said, 50/50s, there's always awesome things to bid on. You can buy raffle tickets and things like that. I mean, shoot, man, we've given away 2 years ago, I gave away like a brand new stainless steel stove range that a real estate agent friend of mine had, and one of for one, no doubt somebody won that. So there's been some unbelievably nice prizes. There's always some killer art or something. So September 26th, mark it on your calendar. But before that, August 29th at the Spanish Society, Hoosier Prom, second chance prom for all of you, like our buddy Steve, who maybe didn't get a chance to go to prom or just didn't want to. You were too cool for school, didn't want to go to prom. This is your opportunity to come out and have the prom with the people that it's just going to be a magical experience, man. I mean, the people that you love and know, we're going to have fun, and we're going to dress up like a bunch of goofballs. We're going to dance the night away. Bigfoot Willie Jr. might make an appearance. We have live music. We have live music that's going to be there. So August 29th, circle it on your calendar. Spanish Society, 7107 Michigan Avenue, 63111, down in South City, baby.
Southside.
Come on down. We're going to have a good old time. Mikey, I think
that's it.
I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to give them a couple of commercials here to lead us out here, because it is an election year, and it's important. It's important that you guys are engaged in the decisions that are being made for you. And right now there's a couple of guys that are running that I think have their ideas in the right place. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. Steve-O, we miss you. We'll see you guys next week. We got some big stuff going.
Big doings.
Hoosier Sophisticate's got some big doings going. I mentioned it a little bit in my live the other day. We're working with a company that's out on the West Coast and the East Coast for a massive event. I'm going to tease a little bit here, but if you're planning on growing cannabis, you have a chance to win over $25,000 in prizes. $420 to enter. You can find someone to sponsor you, maybe a local grow shop, something like that. Stay tuned for all of that information. This is going to be a big deal. The genetics will get everybody signed up through the month of August. Genetics go out in September. And then they'll be tested I think sometime in November, December, and then the winners will be announced in July. It's going to be a big deal.
Man.
It's a 4-state grow off. It's going to be California versus Oklahoma versus Colorado versus Missouri. It's going to be terrific. So stay tuned. If you guys tune in to the on Thursday nights, Evolution Magazine has a stay-at-home grow series. It's a wealth of information. You will be able to learn so much about growing cannabis, cultivating it, and ultimately, possibly even manufacturing it if you're trying to do concentrates, cooking with it, things like that. Check out Evolution Magazine. On Thursday nights, they have the Stay-at-Home Grow series, and you'll learn a little bit more information about this contest. Steve and I are humbled and very excited to be a part of this, and it's going to be big. It's going to be real big, and they don't even know. They just know what they've seen. This company approached us. They like what they've seen. They liked our show.
That's awesome.
Which is really freaking cool, but they have no idea the power of the Sophisticated Hoosiers when it comes to raising money. And on top of the huge prizes and everything, we're going to try and raise $10,000. $10,000 fills a tractor trailer full of food. It feeds 30,000 meals for kids.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. So I think we can do way better than 10 grand when we start talking about 4 different states getting involved in this. We're going to have a blast, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, just make a conscious choice about who you're voting for. Tomorrow is the primaries. So, if you see these names out there, maybe give them a vote.
Love you.
Now, I might not know a lot about chemistry, but what I do know, it's likely that the hydrogen atoms inside your body are about 13.5 billion years old. And I might not know a lot about nanotechnology, but I do know it's important in quantum computing and the eventual takeover by our machine overlords. And I might not know a lot about otters, but damn is it cute when they hold their hands as they go to sleep. But what I do know is the correct bait to use at what time of day to catch you a real nice hog of a largemouth bass. And what I do know are the beautiful intricacies and sensations that is the cannabis plant. And what I do know are how psychedelics can help heal the nation filled with pain, trauma, and anxiety. I believe in America. I believe in the world. And most of all, I believe in you. Thank you, and I approve this message.
This ad paid for by Mycelial Media, mainly out of Craig's bank account, so please don't tell Craig that we are paying for it out of Mycelial Media. Thank you, and goodbye.
My fellow Americans, the world is experiencing a mental health care crisis and is searching for answers. The problem is we can't see the forest for the trees. The answer is nature, and it's time we decriminalize it. The Conscious Party believes in freedom. Every 25 seconds, someone in America is arrested for drug possession. 1/5 of the incarcerated population, 456,000 red-blooded Americans, are serving time for a drug charge. Another 1.15 million people are on probation and parole for drug-related offenses. The Conscious Party believes in equality. Black Americans are nearly 6 times more likely to be incarcerated for drug-related offenses than their white counterparts, despite equal substance usage rates. Almost 80% of people serving time for a federal drug offense are black or Latino. In state prisons, people of color make up 60% of those serving time for drug charges. The Conscious Party believes in fiscal responsibility. In 2015, the federal government spent an estimated $9.2 million every day to incarcerate people charged with drug-related offenses. That's more than $3.3 billion annually. It's time we take back our country. The Conscious Party believes in love, the Conscious Party believes in America, and most importantly, the Conscious Party believes in you. I'm Craig Kohler, and I approve this message.
This ad paid for with money out of Steve's piggy bank he typically uses to buy legal smokable herbs and concentrates.